trip would take 8 months. In 1959, a Spanish crew, hoping to follow the example of mariners during the days of ancient China, set sail in a junk boat from Hong Kong to Barcelona. Thousands of supporters cheered their arrival nearly 8 months later. They became, I guess, the first people to sail a Chinese junk into the Mediterranean. And Steve Bezeling wrote a whole story about it with pictures and names and last names and everything. It's fascinating. Wow. Like, I have to say, I don't know how deep we will go into Spain, Catalonia, and these type of things, but I have been lately reading a lot and thinking a lot about Catalonia in a good way. I think, especially in the 20th century, in the latest part, there has been a ton of creativity and people doing crazy things. Culinary arts, music. You know, I told you I have been listening to Sideral a lot, crazy.
Yeah. Sideral in a stage of my life was a name that it was quite familiar and I heard it many times, and I will explain you later why. We have a link person with Sideral that it was kind of close to me, and it was close to him.
Yes.
I went to the school with the son and the daughter of Juan Arnau, who's the owner of Florida 135,
yes.
Monegros Desert Festival, and Row.
Yes.
So when we were young in the school, when you have the end of the course dinner, the only club in Spain we will get in, because we were underage, would be Florida. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that,
yes.
but
when you're
16, because we are the daughter. I remember a couple of times we went there, so we know them, and we start going to Florida. Not at the beginning, not because of the music. It's just because we knew someone there, no.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started being interested in techno, and I remember Mari Cruz Arnau, who is now the managing. I don't know. They manage now. Her and the brother Monegros and El Ro and everything. She was back then 17 years old, super introvert, super timid, to the point that sometimes we will be in the backstage with the DJ, security will come like, come on kids, out of here, and she would not raise up, hey, I'm the daughter of the owner. No. They will kick us out, and she will just be silent, and we will just kick out. No? So she was very cool. And I remember, I don't know if she mentioned or a friend mentioned that Sideral was like her amor platónico, right? Like
platonic,
platonic, no? Because Sideral was that cool guy from Barcelona, handsome, who had that mysticism around him. So that's how I knew about Sideral. That was one thing. And then that song, Mondo 77, was my summer song on one of the best summers in my life. And I will explain you also why. So Sideral is a name that in my life it's been important. I didn't know the name of the song until your podcast.
No way.
I knew the song. Every time I hear it, it's like, how can I find this song? And I didn't know the name of the song. I read it in Casey podcast for first time.
Look, I think I'm gonna make you a little bit happy. I also have a story with Sideral. I didn't know him, but when I went to Madrid to university, I went to Madrid in 2005, and in 2006. I think I can say this already. So I had a girlfriend in Oviedo, but I kind of like had this thing with another super elder, like she was 26, with a girl, and she came to Madrid, and she took me to a low club in which Sideral, when he started going to Madrid, became resident, and I got introduced to minimal techno in a Sideral session, and my mind was blown away. Like the song selection, the rhythm, the reading the crowd. I know all of these things seem commonplaces, but when you are in a session with him, it was like it was there was some.
His music was different. In that moment where you had Jeff Miles, it was back then Dave Clark. Like everything was very dark. Oscar Muller was starting, and everything was kind of very, very underground. He bring colors to the scene. He bring this that song Mondo 77 is a colorful song, no, I will say.
Mondo 77, Jackpot, Tokotronic,
all that, and then the Miss Queen Wanna Die.
Miss Queen Wanna Die with
He
Tok
will
Tok.
always play that.
Yes.
So it was a different kind of electropop, and then Miss Kitty and the Hacker will follow, no?
Yes.
But he will be the first one in Spain playing that style of music. So it was completely different, and he had a crowd following him.
He had a crowd following him. He was magic, and his disappearance, his death, took a lot of people by surprise. It happened a week or a few weeks after I listened to him for the first time live, and I was like, no, this cannot be, because I had become instantly one of his fan
He had
clubs.
that thing that only the stars have, that when something like this happened, then 300 histories of why that happened, how that happened start, and I'm sure 99% were not true. But people start saying, oh yeah, he died, because now we know it was overdose, no?
Yes.
But I remember hearing back then that he had some kind of illness, that his bones will break very easily, which I always thought, I don't know if this is true, but everyone was saying that.
No, but
And I remember him playing in Florida with both escayola in both arms, like playing like that, like he was like a personaje, no?
Yes, no, he was a character.
a character.
Now, let me tell you, I went into a rabbit hole lately. I thought about him because I came through a song. A song came across me, and I listened to it, and then I started looking for sessions online. Water?
Yes, please.
And so I started looking, and I said, I'm gonna try to see if there are vinyls from Darhus and Popotronic and Schizotronic and Techno, which are his first two mix albums. And there are none around. So if someone listens to the podcast and they find some, I'm super interested in buying them. But what I found was there is a guy, a friend of him, called Hector Castells, that wrote a biography, which is 500 pages, which I bought.
Okay.
And I bought, and I finished reading last week. So I went through all of the nitty gritty of Nizza, Florida 135, then Apollo, then Razmataz, all of his story. Going to the Basque Country, and he was changing, from peanut pie, playing the guitar, into becoming the super dark person. And the last 7 days, I believe, I've been listening to his sessions every day. I do my emails from 9 to 10:30, and I put a session. It's sometimes Sonar, sometimes it's Ibiza, sometimes it's Nizza, and it's super amazing. And he represents, in my opinion, a creativity a level of creativity, very sophisticated, that in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s only happened in the Basque Country and Catalonia. Probably because, there is a generation after all of the industry that, were wealthy and they could spend their time being creative. And only maybe 10-15 years ago that started happening in Madrid. So it's fantastic. There is a certain parallelism, and now we get into let's say fire and kitchen and stuff. I saw the other day a documentary of Andone Duriz, and his craziness was kind of the same craziness I get from Sideral.
I think there are some persons who are very creative, very themselves. They have the need to express something, and then just the medium they use is different. No? In DJing or in electronic music, you can see DJs, and then once in a while you can see those guys. You give them a guitar, eventually they will express them. I will say Sven Bath, these guys are showmen. They just using a vinyl to show you how crazy they are, and they will stop the music and throw the vinyl, and then it doesn't matter. And then you have all these DJs with everything needs to be technically perfect, 3 decks, Christian Varela. With all my respect to Christian Varela, which I was a big follower, but it's a different thing, no?
Yes.
So, and Adurit is that in cooking.
The perfect or the crazy?
The crazy.
Yes.
There is no system to be followed. we have to question everything. I just want to express myself, and if you like it, it's fine, and if you don't like it, it's also fine.
Yes.
And I think Adurit is kind of that type of chef. And Adurit, I think, is one of the persons that I hear him talking in Madrid Fusion Manila one time,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the sentences I heard him, I have repeat them for the 10 years after to everyone, saying, this is how I see this. And I didn't know how to put it in words, but Adurit put it in words for me.
Okay.
And I can explain you that later. This guy is a genius, and same as Sideral was with music, I think.
Yes. So, okay, first of all, see, we start talking and everything
Okay.
is going on, and the podcast is going on
Now I feel
already. So, but welcome everyone to the last meeting of the week. It's already minute 15, but if you stay with us, you are welcome to stay. The rest of the podcast, today I have with me someone that, look, Edgar, you are one of those people that I regret not seeing more often. Because whenever I see, first of all, it's super good conversation, and normally it goes hand in hand with good moments. We met one time because a super good friend in common that we have, Xavi and Miki. No. I make a mistake. It was Victor. Victor, the guy from Madrid that played tennis.
In Pica Pica.
No, he was going to a lunch that you were organizing in your home,
Okay.
and then with Erika, his now wife and mom of the daughter and so on. I said, why don't you come? And we came, and then we met there.
Okay.
Then afterwards, and there was Xavi that by chance, shout out to Xavi. You need to be in this podcast very soon, by the way. And then we saw each other there. It was super nice journey. We saw each other a few more times, especially in Pica Pica. But then, I don't know if you remember this, but one of the most important days in my life, which was the day in which my daughter Olivia was born.
Yeah, you came to Pica Pica.
I came to Pica Pica out of desperation, actually by chance. I happened to be in Pica Pica. So my daughter was born around 4:30. There were some problems. She had to be put in the ICU. And what happens for those of you who don't have children, after you solve the situation in the hospital, you need to reply to 1,000 messages of concerned people.
Yes.
Especially when things don't go well, you need to talk a lot and reply a lot.
Yes.
So I got out of the hospital in the Queen Mary, and I started replying to messages and replying to phone calls, and I started walking because there was no point in taking a taxi. I just needed time.
Yeah.
And I started walking, and it's a long walk.
Yeah.
And then when I finished the calls, I realized I hadn't had lunch. I hadn't had breakfast. I got up at 4:30, took the helicopter from Lama to Queen Mary.
Yeah, you explained me that.
Went all the way, and I realized everything is closed now. And you were closing, but I say hello. I told you I'm going to the ferry, and you fed me, and then we had a conversation. I drank, I think, maybe 7 beers, and then I went home a little bit more calm. And for me, it was like the sweet day. The sweet end to a fantastic day. So thank you for coming. Thank you for making it.
Thank you for having me.
How have you been? Because we haven't seen each other for a very long time, and a lot of things happen in your life.
Yeah, I don't know since when.
You were not a father. No, you were recently a father since it was Christmas last year.
Okay, so yeah, my daughter is now 1 year and 4 months, and we are enjoying. My wife and I are enjoying fatherhood so much. It's like a daily fun, a daily adventure. So far, we're playing easy mode. Only first year, baby's at home. We have the luxury of a helper at home, which is helping us a lot. Some of those Hong Kong good things that we have here. So enjoying the fatherhood. Our daughter is like so much fun.
How did life change for you?
I have to tell, because of COVID.
Yes.
And our daughter was born right after COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Our life didn't change much. Like
yes, I see.
You know what I mean? We were not going out already for 1.5 years. We were not traveling for 1.5 years. So then we had the baby, and actually it was like a add-on distraction to our life that it was very welcome, because we were just already used to be at home at 8 p.m. with our pajamas.
Yes.
And then so we it's not like some people say, oh, your life will change a lot, and we never had to say with my wife, you know what? We need to stop doing that now because we have a daughter. We need to stop going out every Saturday and Sunday. We were not doing that already for 1.5 years. So, and Saikun life, where we live, very chill.
Yes.
garden. So yeah, it changed for good only. I wouldn't tell you two things that, you know what, now I miss that.
No. It's a very good approach. My life improved for the better when I became a father, but there were many things. There were a lot of adjustments that I had to make because I was trying to be the old Fernando and the new Fernando at the same time.
That's very difficult.
It is impossible. And at the end of the day, either you crash or you wreck yourself, or you realize that the new Fernando needs more room, and now you see only the new Fernando.
To be fair as well, let me do a shout out to my wife, because I think she did more adjustments than what I did. So I work full time, she works part time. She can choose a little bit more when she does classes and when she not. She's teaching ballet to kids and to people. So she did a bigger adjustment, and in my case was easier because of her effort. No, so I still work same time, same hours. She wakes up more than me at night. So,
but I have to say, I'm going to be a little bit controversial. I think that makes total sense.
Yeah, some people will say so. I think it depends on the lifestyle you have. No,
Exactly.
I think in our case it made sense, because if I have a meeting at 9 a.m. that I cannot skip, but she has class at 3 p.m., so she is the one waking up. And then in other aspects of marriage, maybe I'm taking more heavy responsibility, you know? I think, yeah. But in the fatherhood sense, she's a great help. And yeah, I would be in very big trouble if I wouldn't have a wife like her. Yeah.
I look, as much as I believe that the fact that women are more important, and they even sometimes are more important than men, is a good thing for humanity.
Yeah.
We also need to acknowledge that, trying to divide everything 50-50 is extremely pointless. Because the role of the mom when the baby is small could not be substituted even by the best husband.
I cannot talk by all the couples in the world, but in my case, I agree with you. 50-50 in every single thing, it doesn't make sense. We have different set of skills as well. And for example, that the touch she has with the baby and how the baby reacts to her, I cannot substitute that. I see, like, my daughter, how she laughs like crazy when my wife does a couple of things. She loves me a lot. She comes, she hugs me, but it's that kind of connection, no? That I feel myself, what they have is impossible to replace.
Yes.
And so they have their relationship, I have my relationship. 50-50, we are different and we cover different aspects.
My experience is a little bit similar. I have to say, a lot of my friends told me that it was going to change, and it did change in a way that at the beginning, I'm not going to say it's all mom, but great percentage of the affection of the baby towards humans goes to the mom, and the dad. We just need to stay put and wait. After I think after she was 2.5, then I am more important, and now. I don't want to say 50-50, but maybe we're getting to 60-40, and I'm enjoying so much. And now before I used to go home and I used to turn on the TV for 15-20 minutes. Now I don't even turn on the TV. I just play with her and directly.
And you enjoy it.
I enjoy it 100%. 100%.
And it's a therapy as well. We are in this world, like, my daughter helped me to say, okay, now I leave my phone. And this is more important to me now. Yeah, I understand someone in the restaurant must have forgotten something that they really want to tell me now, but they're going to tell me tomorrow morning, Before, I was a person that I will be available all the time, especially for work things. I will be suffering all the time. Did we forget something? And I was also annoying, sending messages to people asking for immediate responses.
Yes.
And now I understand. I mean, we can wait until tomorrow morning.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, you do a job that is more important than mine, because you feed people, but none of us do open heart surgery, So I agree 100% with you. And we need to take life easy, especially because now things are changing so much that we need to be as relaxed as possible.
Yeah.
Do you believe in astrology?
Not really. I don't have much knowledge about it now.
Now, I was a big skeptic of astrology
until something happened.
No, the biggest one until I did this podcast. And in the second episode, Anna Palmer, dear friend, explained to me the general concepts, the basic pillars of astrology.
Okay.
And she told me yesterday that this Saturday at, I think it's 7:57, Pluto enters into Aquarius. And you're thinking, what the fuck are you talking about? Now, in the past 15 years, we have been in Capricorn. So, Capricorn is the sign of December, the sign of entering into winter, or of harvesting and accumulating stuff to go through a period of scarcity and difficult times.
Okay. That was the one we are living now.
That was the one we left, or we are living now. Yes.
We're living now.
Aquarius. This is why they had the song. That's why they call the drink Aquarius.
So we should
song,
have
the age of Aquarius.
We should have recollect until now.
We should have. And now
we start wrong, and
now we are entering into a time of change, of big change. Now, if I tell you this, again, I'm not saying something nothing significant. And I was kind of thinking the same thing, and she told me, Fernando, the last time Pluto was on Aquarius was 240 years ago. And if you actually make the subtraction, that's around 1770. Industrial Revolution, French Revolution. The old regime passed away, and the new regime came. And now we apparently, if we believe in these things, if we want to believe or not,
a big moment of change.
AI. The relationship between human and machine. What's going to happen? As I told you, there is a big part of this podcast that now is done by artificial intelligence. As much as we have a team of 4 people that we are trying to learn how to make this better. So it's going to be fun. So we need to chill.
That's interesting. I think, in AI, maybe I'm very... I feel skeptical that in my field, at some levels of my field, it will be affected, but of course in other things like mass market food consumption and cooking and all that, it can have an implementation soon.
Looking at myself, I feel kind of safe because I believe that humans for certain roles will be even more important than before.
Yeah.
Nowadays, for example, you cannot trust any communication that is digital. You cannot, because everything can be faked. I can be reading a paper like this. I put this into a software, and it appears as if I'm looking to the camera and being more sincere. I can put a face mask and appear to be you, and vice versa.
True.
So nowadays, knowing that there is someone behind a certain transaction is going to be super, super, super fundamental. Now, if you were doing captions for videos, maybe you're going to lose your job.
Or photography, or product photography. Product photography.
That's tough.
You need to go to a mountain to take a photo of the car. That kind of things are going to be...
That's gone.
Yeah, that's gone.
That's gone. On one side, it's also good because the amount of resources that small companies will need to compete, it just goes almost to zero.
Yeah, true.
If someone wants to create a show with close to no money, you can make it. But then if you were doing one of those specific jobs, it's going to take some adaptation. Maybe we need to go back to, harvesting like 240 years ago.
But in some sense, we have to, I think. We're losing that touch with humanity. Someone told me, I think a couple of months ago, that I was talking about my daughter education with someone whose 2 daughters just finished high school in Hong Kong, and I was asking him, what should I do? Should I go public education? Should I go international education? I'm very confused. I see good things in both. I see bad things in both. And then he told me, look, Edgar, because my first approach was I want to put her in a local school because at least she will learn English, Cantonese, Mandarin.
Yes.
Plus, if we're lucky, Spanish at home. So that's already will put her in the market speaking this language. And he told me, look, China last year put more engineers in the market that the US all fills together. All those guys speak Cantonese and Mandarin, or Mandarin, English. So already language may not be an advantage. He also say AI, we have devices today that can just translate anything in the moment, no? But he say what we are going to be lacking in the future is the social skills.
Emotional intelligence.
So he say, put your daughter in a school that they teach her to interact with people, to be happy, to like learning. Because now we don't know what's going to be relevant in 5 years.
Yep.
How we know what's going to be relevant in 20 years? Most probably, what is going to be relevant in 5 years is not going to be relevant in 20. So whatever she studied, probably it will need further development. So raise a child who likes to learn, because probably our learning path was shorter than what the learning path is going to be in future kids, no? So anyway, he just completely changed what I had in my on my mindset on that. And it's funny because it's done. So emotional intelligence. You will have a lot of people able to implement how to do a bridge, but how to close that deal, how to go and inspire security in the other person. How all that is what is lacking in the society. You know, this human connection and trust is building that, and human relations are building that.
And even if you allow me, I think even critical thinking, I see nowadays, and again, we can or we cannot go into politics if you want.
No.
And if we can, I would. Normally, I don't do it with anyone, but I like to talk to you because I think you're a nice. You're a nice counterpart. What I've been feeling in Spain, of course, because Spain is closer to me and it hurts me more than other countries, but I can say this. I think about pretty much every country nowadays. You see population following the most unreasonable and absurd people that one day they say one thing, the next day they say the opposite, and they follow them as if they were sheep. It's like as if the intellectual level of everything just has come down a lot, which in my opinion shows a lack of knowledge of history, knowledge of philosophy, even logical thinking. Like, you know, if A is B, not B, doesn't mean it's not A. Things like this. So I believe, going back to what you were saying, in the future it will be fundamental to go back to these things, to know what our parents probably were learning in the 40s, in the 50s, in the 60s. I ask myself that question because I actually don't have the answer. And my daughter is 2 years older than yours, so I'm in the same ball game.
Yeah.
What do we do?
We just want to build something that gives them opportunities in the future for them to choose, right?
Make them autonomous.
Yeah, exactly. Complicated.
So they can defend themselves.
I'm still on the. If you find a path, recommended path, let me know. I may follow.
Look, I focused on something that I think my parents did very well with me. In their case, it was easier because I didn't have any screens, and I was allowed close to zero TV in the first years of my life. So they gave me books, comics, and the kids' books at the beginning, and then I read all the Mortadelo and Filemon. And everything available later on, and then I started with novels and things more complicated as the years went by. The key thing is that they made me love learning by myself, reading. So what I did is, now I'm a tyrant with my daughter, so I allow her to see one cartoon, maybe 2 per week.
Wow, okay, that was our goal. And now we have Miss Rachel there every day for an hour.
At least you don't have to be like me. I started saying I'm a tyrant.
We were saying our daughter will not see a phone or an iPad until she's 5. Why 5? It sounds like good parenting. Until she's 5. There was no study behind why and 5.
Yes.
And then we fly to Spain.
Yes.
6 hours of flight. I was asking my wife to download cartoons in the iPad because she couldn't stay quiet. And it was not for us, it was for the people around.
100%.
So I was like, sorry. And then I said, okay, put the iPad there. And then we arrived to Spain and she had jet lag.
Yes.
So we will go sleep at 11 and she will wake up at 3 a.m. because she went to sleep at 5 p.m.
Yes.
Papa, like wanted to play. So iPad, Yeah, and then since then...
No, okay. I also use cartoons in the flights. Flights are a different story.
Yeah. I was
No,
going to
no,
say,
no,
flights
no,
is
no.
allowed. Flights
Yes,
has
flights
to be
is-
allowed.
flights,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then
but-
I tell you one thing, there are cartoons and cartoons because we associate TV as this negative people screaming to each other that we have in Spain, right?
Yes.
Like, and we don't want or that. No? But I'm surprised. I'm watching cartoons with my daughter, and they are very instructive. It almost feels like a class. Like the way they explain and the way when they talk, they move their mouth because the intention is to the baby to mimic that movement and mama, mama, like that. And I think my daughter has learned a couple of things.
100%.
Like she says birds in an accent that it's not mine, it's not from my wife. And this is the cartoon.
Thanks to the TV. Yes.
Yeah, so,
Yes.
I don't know if that's good in an educational way. Maybe some teacher is gonna hear and say that's completely wrong. But I feel there is some positive impact as well. I'm not aware of the negative at this moment.
Look, I think as a general rule, the important thing is to have good intention. There is a dogma which is that parents will fuck up eventually in one way or another. So I think that's you need to make peace with that idea. So if you're doing something because you think your kid is learning, probably they will learn a little bit. Maybe I'm being too strict, and as soon as I open my hand, she will not stay away from the TV. I have no idea. I'm a little bit vigilant when it comes to which type of cartoon she watches, depending on which year the cartoon was made on. And I do the same with me for films, because I noticed that films that were done from the 2015 onwards are more dopaminic. They are, they are the streaming age. So production companies, they know exactly which part of the movie you tune out, or maybe you stop the film, and which things they keep you in the movie. So if you pay attention, you watch now a movie that is not even an action movie, kind of like a drama movie, and it's like you finish it, and it takes 1 hour to go to sleep. You watch Heat with Al Pacino, Val Kilmer, and Robert De Niro from '95, which is one of my favorite films in the world, and which is a film in which, sorry, spoiler alert, they kill fucking everyone, and it feels slow, it feels relaxing. I go to bed like as if I had gone to church. So this is why she's very knowledgeable in the old Disney movies.
Lion King.
How to say Snow White, Robin Hood, all of those.
La Bella la Bestia.
Yes, Beauty and the Beast. Yes. But anyway, the important thing is to move on. Is to do things with good intention. What about the future regarding the family? Do you think you will stay in Hong Kong for a long time, or being from a fantastic place in Spain, from Lleida, do you ever think about going back?
Okay, let me ask you one thing that I ask myself: is Spain still a fantastic place?
Haha. You want okay?
Because to me, a fantastic place needs to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Needs to ensure people has aspirations to a job.
Yep.
We hope to have politicians who at least are polite with each other and educated, which we don't have in any side of the spectrum.
100%. Well, there are some exceptions.
Well, yeah,
yes.
no, of course, there are always exceptions, but
Yes.
the majority,
Yes.
the image they project.
Yes.
I mean, other than memories that in my mind are somehow idealistic of what Spain is, when I go there, I don't see that Spain. And then, yeah, I love the Spain I have in my mind, but I can't find it every time I go. And I come back here and I feel it's not a perfect place, but there is education, there is good public transportation. I don't get involved in politics here. I don't pay attention. I don't even understand. It's usually in Cantonese, in Chinese. So maybe that's a good thing.
And we are guests.
And we are guests, exactly. Yeah. So I won't get in another house to say what I have to do. So in that sense, it's one problem less.
Yes.
So, man, I think it's a very good place to live, Hong Kong. Singapore would be a very good place to live. I love Taipei. I think there are many cities in the world where I could live comfortably. Barcelona is one of them, but I don't feel that need of living there. What it will hurt me is that if my daughter wouldn't be culturally linked to there in any sense. So I'm doing steps to ensure that that my daughter knows I'm Spanish and she's half Spanish.
Yes.
And we bought a little property now in Torredembarra, which is a little beach town near Barcelona, where we hope to go in summers, and I hope she will have her summer friends Spanish and that link. But now if you ask me if my aspiration is to come back to the Barcelona I know today or to the Madrid I know today, or I don't see the need. I don't find the need at this moment.
It's a very good question that you ask me. I would say I have a little bit of doubts when it comes to Madrid, because I love Madrid, and the Madrid I live when I go, I find it super enjoyable. Again, normally I go by myself, but in general, look, I'm a very patriotic guy, but I'm a very patriotic guy in the classic way. Like I love the idea of Spain, the history of Spain. I think I'm lucky to have been born in a place with relevant history and where significant things happen and so on. If I have to say, I even respect Spain, the answer is no. And the answer is no. When I go to Oviedo, which again there are two Oviedos, there are two Asturias. There is the Oviedo from when I was from the 90s.
Well, you're right with one thing, but sorry, I think now I'm going to contradict myself. I went recently to Santiago with family, and we were walking there saying, I would love to live here.
Yes.
The weather, the people in Galicia, and it's like, wow, this is an amazing place to live. No, sorry, maybe maybe I'm focusing too much on this crispation. I don't know if crispation is even a word in English. No, I don't think so. I don't think crispation.
Tension, yes.
This tension. I maybe that's what it comes to. It's been constant for so many years that I feel like, oh my God, you guys are very exhausting.
My question to you is, how many days did you spend in Santiago?
Yeah, of course, 3.
It's honeymoon phase.
Two.
It's honeymoon phase.
Yeah, it's honeymoon
if you stay for a little longer, if you scratch the surface, you find that people are very angry. People either they believe the stories of one side of the bench or the stories of the other side of the bench. There is the exercise of trying to put yourself in the other person's shoes. No one is doing that exercise anymore. I believe that the attitude in the case of, Spain has many problems. One of the situations that is less fortunate is the situation between Spain and the provinces that have a national identity.
Yeah. Let me go. I want to go to there later. Because I want to make a point as a Catalan.
Yes.
Who has family in Madrid.
Yes.
Family in León. Who, on a stage of my life, I will say I was very Catalanist. Mm-hmm. But that was also in a stage of my life when I was 20 years old and I was revolutionary. Yes. And in that moment, to be revolutionary in Catalonia meant to be independentist.
Yes. Maybe to be accepted by your friends even.
No, but again, this is a fallacy that we say. In Catalonia, independentism has always been 20-30% of the population supported by.
Yes.
Majority don't care.
Yes.
It was very recent where politician parties that were never independentist, like Convergencia y Unió and all those guys, who always partner with Partido Popular to govern Spain. Spain has never been managed in a majority without Basques or Catalans. I think only was 1 or 2 times in the history of democracy. It's always open.
We have the majorities of Partido Popular, one with Rajoy, one with Aznar.
But Aznar was with Pujol, I think.
It was from 96 to 2000 with Pujol. 2000 he got the majority by himself.
And then I think it was one with PNV as well. Yes. Problem was when those Catalans, now they say, now we want to be independentists. And now no one can govern Spain because there is no majority. So, but the point I want to say is, I gave up. I have no interest anymore in one and in the other.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you why. Because my grandparents, my grandfather, who are both of them, who are persons who I think they were very respectable. One of them was mayor of our town, famous lawyer in our area, loved by many people. You will go in my town and say, oh, you are the grandson of, no? Great man. Both of them, very good persons. Persons that they will show bondad, I don't know, kindness.
Kindness, yes.
Always, and very well respected. And I will say one of them at least was very right oriented.
Yes.
You know? And his wife, my grandmother, who's still alive, her university photos are with the shirt with the Falange Española de las FAES,
Yes.
which it's seen now as a fascist aggregation by some people.
Yes.
But back then, she was that because in the university, everyone...
It was a youth association.
It was a youth association, right?
Yeah.
What I mean is, I have never heard them disrespecting the left side. I have never heard them insulting anybody. They will say, I disagree with this guy is a lunatic, I will never vote this guy. But there was some respect, no? Education and manners over everything.
Yes.
And they bring you to a school, if you're lucky, or if they consider so, which is private. I went to a private school, religious private school, because they believe on in that approach to life where you have to be kind to people, you have to be respectful to people. It doesn't matter if that one is independentist, that one is whatever, no? Let's talk. You're independentist. I'm sorry, you will not get away with what you want because you're a minority and we are Spain.
Yes.
But we're going to discuss it and I'm going to be polite. No? We get into a point where who you are justifies what I do to stop you. And majority of Spain supports that. Okay. Directly or indirectly. Let me put you a recent example. La Vanguardia, I don't know if you read it, 2 days ago, showed the documents from the Spanish political police sending to Mariano Rajoy documents on fake cases that they will open against Trapero, against one of the sons of Jordi Pujol. And what La Vanguardia showed 2 days ago, I don't know if this is true, but I will believe so. It's like Spanish government considers independent is a problem, and I understand why. They think that should never go through, and I understand why. But then they will go under the law to protect the law.
Yes.
What are the ethics? What are the ethics? And then when I see the president of the Community of Madrid, which Ayuso, who I think she's a very talented woman and she will have more sympathy, in the Congress saying, hijo de puta, motherfucker, to the president-elected of Spain, that lady should be banned from that Congress for a lifetime because the values she's showing is not what I want. I want people who can sit in a table and respect each other. Doesn't matter if you believe in God, you don't believe in God, you're independentist. Everyone will have a different point of view. So at the moment I see that respect is lost and everyone make like the ho ho ho. Why? Because he's the enemy.
Yes.
He's like with us or against us. And if you are against us, everything is allowed.
Yes.
This is what I say. You know what? With these rules, I don't want to play. I don't have interest anymore.
Yes.
And if you ask me, and now I'm going to make a point, I think I've never said this publicly. No one asked me publicly. In a referendum, I will vote no. I never wanted Catalonia to be independent for a simple, selfish reason. My brothers live in Madrid. My mother lives in León. I love going to León. I love going to Madrid. Eventually, I would like to go to Andalusia. I've never been. And I like that part of Spain. I love it. And I don't see Catalonia being a better place alone. This is me. My personal opinion. At the same time, I do believe there is a fiscal deficit or there is, we can look at the rules to make it more fair for everyone. I think it's not fair for everyone. When my father died, I have to pay more taxes than when the father of someone from Extremadura dies. l'impost de successions.
Yes.
I think it was put even for the Catalan government. I'm not saying, but I would like to change. I would like everything to be more fair, no?
Yes.
But in Catalonia now, you cannot talk about any of this because the tension is too high. Everything is us or against us. You cannot say, there is no political party in Spain that I don't agree in something with. Vox, they say something once in a while that I say, you know what? It's impossible that you disagree with everything. But they will never say it, no? It's like, no, it's the enemy, no?
Yes.
So I gave up a bit with this tension. It makes me mentally exhausted. I don't want to deal with any of them. I don't want to hear more about independentism. I don't want to hear more about golpistas. I don't want to hear more about law, because come on, there is a paper from a guy called Bárcenas.
Yes.
With mentions M. Rajoy.
Yes.
And we still don't know who that guy is. Are you fucking kidding me? Give me a break.
Yes.
This is like, and then those guys are going to say, hey, you're going against the law, Catalans. What you're doing is wrong. Yes. But this is like if the alcoholic father comes to you and asks you to be a good guy. You know, like, excuse me, the guy who beats your mother, you know?
Yes.
Partido Popular and Partido Socialista, the two big parties in Spain, how
Yes.
many corruption cases they have? How many more cases they need to have, you know? All to jail. And the Catalans who did it, all to jail. I don't mind, but I believe in fairness. And,
Yes.
and I think fairness in Spain is applied depending on which is your side. And that's why I say I'm not interested in that anymore.
I agree in a great majority of what you said. Let's say I can't put my signature in the overall principle of what you just said. 100%. One, for me, the piece of content that is most relevant to understand the present situation of Spain is the podcast of 5 hours that Jordi Wild did with the Comisario Villarejo. And if you haven't seen it, it talks about all of this.
Yeah.
But the thing is this.
You also need to filter what this guy says a little bit.
You need to filter, but let's say there is, even if 40% of what he says is not true, there is serious, let's say, evidence to supposedly believe that everyone has their hands dirty. The problem, in my opinion, in Spain, and this has been super magnified by social media, and even before social media, by the fact that if you lived in a certain part of the country, you were receiving one type of information. If you were living in another part of the country, you were receiving another piece of information.
But do you think in 2023 that's possible? Because that's something we also keep hearing.
It's more possible than ever, because the way news works.
Oh, the algorithm and what they show you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
If you were, let's say, imagine this is the middle, no? And this is the left and this is the right. This is very simplistic, but if you were here,
I understand.
You receive news that push you more here.
That's true.
And you only see this side. Because, for example, what you mentioned about Ayuso calling son of a bitch to the president of the Spanish government is unjustifiable. It's totally unjustifiable. At the same time, there is certain outrage from a certain part of the population that believes that there is treason to the deaths, to the let's say, I don't know if there is a lack of respect for the deaths of certain people, even from his own political party. So we have on one side people that are obviously corrupt. On the other side, majority political parties in Spain, PP and PSOE, have had how to say, illegal finance.
Let me tell something to what you just say, and I completely agree.
Yes.
I completely agree with you. Then, do we apply common sense or we apply the law? Because if you apply common sense, I totally agree. We are we are hurting families whose parents died, killed by some people that today they call themselves politicians, and a few years ago they were with guns in their hands killing people. No, by common sense, we should not tolerate this, and that's why some people is outraged about it. I totally understand, but the law allows it. So the law the law is not always correct. No, when you have 87% of a population which represents the biggest percentage of the people of a country, which is Catalonia, saying they want a referendum, why don't you apply common sense there? Why don't you do the referendum non-vinculant? They just wanted to vote. No, Catalonia is not going to get independent. It will have win the no, if you ask me. But okay, maybe it's a gamble. Yes. Maybe it's a gamble that no one wanted to tell. But you cannot just say low constitution. And when you don't like what the constitution allows, call motherfucker the guy because he's playing with the law.
No, I understand what
you know
saying.
What I mean, no?
I understand what you're saying, but we are talking about two different things. On one side, there is the area of, again, following or not following the law, which is something super fundamental for a group of people to be able to behave and with each other, because the rules of the game need to be clear. Exactly. On the other side, we have the politics is also about morals. And there are a lot of things. In fact, in the Congress, they discuss things that then sometimes they have effect, and they go into effect as in the shape of a law. Again, I think it's extremely unfortunate, to say the least, that politicians, they insult themselves, they threaten themselves, they play all dirty games. I am 100% sure that the Spanish spies, the intelligence of Spain, if that exists
I'm sure there are.
Sounds like an oxymoron, but
I'm sure there are.
that they have done when the government was interested in it certain jobs to harm their political opponents. I am also sure that, and if I would be a little bit conflicted if I was Catalan, because on one side I know the type of information people see there and the version of events that they have, and you could be pushed to say, fuck Spain, On the other side, the politicians that are going to take over the Catalan Republic are a nightmare. They are the ones that had 3%, 7%, like the late Pascual Margal says when he was about to lose his head. And in my opinion, this is my theory, the escalation, the change in attitude in CEU, the birth of the Junts, what's the name, the Asamblea
Nacional Catalana.
All of that comes from when this guy loses his mind, and in public he says to Artur Mas,
you have a problem,
it's called 3%. And people were like, whoa, hold on, we were not supposed to talk about this in public,
That moment was very...
That moment was, and then we had the things with the king, and then we had the abdication, and a lot of things. In my opinion, there is the real information is going underneath. What I'm sad about is that there is economical interests in form of big companies, lobbies, which is political parties, both in Catalonia, which is at the end of the day, Barcelona and Madrid are the two key engines of the country. They're trying to fight for power, and the independence, the pursuit of independence, is just a tool for one to try to put pressure on the other. This is the way I see it, because at the end of the day, if you think about it, Spain without Catalonia looks kind of like shit. Catalonia without Spain, you are like, let's say, it's I don't want to say insignificant, but more and more significant.
I think in Catalonia in that moment, and again, I don't want to speak for all the Catalans, but at least in me and some people around me, the feeling that the promise of that, the promised garden, it was an independent Catalonia with great relationship with Spain, great relationship with France, that would have never happened in the history.
Yes.
So they were thinking, okay, wait one moment. this is the amount of taxes we will have here, and here everything will be amazing, and we will go in summer, we will go to Oviedo. And I think no one was telling the tension that will bring, that you will become enemies of your neighbors. Like this cannot happen in a friendly way. And I think there was a moment, I tell you, this may sound very naive, people was thinking that this was going to be a happy transition and it was going to be a win-win for everyone. And of course, when all the sides disagree, that's not going to happen. No?
It's tough. I look. The sad part is that I don't see any good solution.
But the thing is, for people like me, who I am a Catalan, who I have a lot of friends who wanted the independence. I think when I was very young, when the independence was a minority, I even had somewhere draw like the star. But that's more like a teenager kind of.
I was an anarchist when I was 16 too.
Exactly. Yes. You know, this is more like I want to go against whatever they told me to do. But who represents me? And also in Madrid, that they say we all are Spain. Who in Madrid talks who about me? Because it feels like to fight these independentists, you need to go against Catalonia a little bit. But in Catalonia, there are many people who... I'm proud of Catalan. I was discussing this with a friend on last Sunday. You know, my mother was like, you need to talk to your daughter in Spanish, thinking about my daughter, because that's the useful language. And I say, yeah, but I do not choose thinking in Catalan. I think in Catalan. I wake up and I think, what I have to do, què tinc que fer avui, a les 11 tinc que... I think in Catalan. That's because when I was born in Lleida, people around me will speak in Catalan. My mother will speak to me in Catalan. No? So that's my culture.
Yes.
And I would like my daughter to understand that. And then there is no political context on this. There is nothing. You know, I just ask to my daughter to understand the language her father asked one. But for so many people, this will be like, you put in Catalan. No, there is no political. So I would like in Spain to understand that Basques and Catalans and even the ones who prefer to be in Spain, we still have a national identity that it doesn't go against anybody. This is what we are. Yes. And that doesn't mean we consider ourselves better or anything, but I'm a Catalan, I'm sorry, I speak in Catalan, and that's not an attack to anybody. And I think in certain areas of Spain it's still seen as an aggression.
I would love to correct you and say not areas, but I think certain people.
Certain people.
Because I think it's, let's say, it's a little, you have, the problem again is going back to education and people, is critical thinking. I come from a region with a very strong regional identity. I think there are more Asturian flags in Asturias than Catalan flags in Catalonia, or we are about the same. The thing is that the identity of being from Asturias never, until now, there are some people trying to replicate what happens in Catalonia and talking. They want to bring the dialect, which is not like Catalan, that is a language, it's a dialect, as an official language, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, but the majority, 95% of the people, they don't have conflict between them. And that's it. Let's say my dad talked to me forever, and when I meet him still now, he's going to be 80 in June, he still speaks in dialect to me. And that's his code to me. And for me, it would be very weird to listen to it otherwise. Yeah. And
you know, talking about that, there is something that linguists will explain, and it was explained to me when I was young, and I don't know if that was adoctrinamiento or not,
yes.
But I bought it.
Yes.
I think that is when two languages collide in a space.
Yes.
The devil,
the weak one.
The weak one will only survive if there is a positive discrimination towards it. And I'm going to explain you why. And I'm going to explain you why from my experience.
Yes.
If we are in the school in Barcelona,
yes,
and you don't speak Catalan, we all going to speak in Spanish. 100%. These stories, someone who went to Barcelona and people was talking to them in Catalan, so it could be. I have never seen it in my life in 39 years.
I have suffered. And you see that
one idiot.
I'm very moderate, but there is always that one idiot. Yes.
Well, yeah, it's an idiot. I mean, yes. Literally, that doesn't happen.
Yes.
That doesn't happen, and we want to communicate. What's the point of me talking to you in a language that you don't understand? I want you to understand me, right? So,
yes.
So anyway, this is a linguist principle. It's not something only in Catalonia and Spain. Is if you don't Okay. The first premise is, do we want Catalan to prevail or we want it to disappear? That's the first thing.
That is the question.
That's the first question. Because if we want it to disappear, or some people say, look, I don't care disappearing, fine, that's fine. Now, there is some people who would like the language to prevail because we think it adds diversity, it's not better than anyone, but we want it to stay, right? In a context like Catalonia, where the weak language is the one that is not going to be spoken because we want everyone to understand each other. Same like if there is one person who don't speak Spanish, you're going to change to English.
Every time,
no? We're doing this podcast in English, right? Because we want people to understand us.
Yes.
And that's the same. If you don't put a quota of Catalan in the schools,
yes.
If you don't put a quota of Catalan in the movies, if you don't put a quota of Catalan in the shops, the language is going to disappear. And this is a fact because this happened in many places in the world.
Happened in France.
It happened in France. So, can we find a space where that's not an obligation, where you don't go to jail if you don't speak Catalan, but at the same time we protect? Because my perception is there are political parties in Spain who will be very happy, even in Spain, everyone is Spanish, white, Christian, and speaks Spanish. You know, and to me this is like going backwards.
But then in my opinion there is, allow me to put my finger in your eye. In my opinion, there is part of what you said is conditioned by the counter propaganda. Let me share with you my point of view. Because I am from Spain, I am one of those people that I don't care two facts whether Asturian or Catalan survive. And to be frank, I believe that 50% of the education in the whole country should be in English, because that would actually maybe makes us a little bit more important. But, because the question is the principal question, and then we work around that. And this we can have 2 points of view. There is the romantic point of view, which is totally,
totally romantic. My approach is totally romantic.
It's respectable because it is. There is some people also like they work into, and believe me, I understand because again, Catalan, same like Galician, same like Basque. In my opinion, Galician and Catalan are a step above because you have a certain level of literature that doesn't exist in Euskadi. But there is a certain point in saving a culture that is, let's say, an entity. It exists already.
But to
being
me,
practical,
it's not just a culture. Sorry, it's memories. It's memories.
Yes.
It's your grandparents talking to you in the language. So.
Yes.
But again, I agree with you. With something you say, I think is very wise. It's just a romantic thing.
It's a romantic
That's
thing.
That's why I would never fight with anyone because of that.
But
I would like it to prevail, honestly. And I think it makes us more rich as a country to have a diversity.
And I understand that. And to a certain point, if I listen to my romantic side, I can also agree. And I think if you actually just look at the facts and try to find common ground without using it as a weapon to throw against each other, we can find reasonable agreements. For me, for example, if I was if I was look, especially now that I read in the Sideral book, I think every quote is in Catalan. So I've been and because I speak Italian, so for me it's easier Catalan than for other people. I almost understand everything. If you talk too fast, no. But when you learn the words that are totally different, I show, avui, how to say?
Catalan is difficult. It's much more difficult than Spanish.
It is difficult, especially because there are some constructions that.
Els pronoms febles. When yo, fui, ahí, and then when you the ie anat.
Yes.
And there is implicit there that it's me and it's there.
Yes,
it's very complicated. The structures become complicated. It's very complicated.
But you know
it's
not
what? Rocket science, but.
But you know what? In Asturian dialect, those structures are the same.
Okay.
And in Italian, they are also the same. So for me, it's not too tough, and I enjoy. So I think, okay, if imagine I go there, I move to Barcelona. And I'm having the time of my life, and I put my kid in school, I think it would make sense if you say, okay, Fernando, do you find reasonable that 1/3 of the curriculum is done in Catalan, 1/3 in Spanish, 1/3 in English, I would say, fuck yeah, why not? Let's do it.
Doesn't matter.
Because you open another channel of communication.
Wait, let me say one more thing.
But the overall thing, when you do the whole
and we are talking about public education.
Public. But public is the foundation.
We're talking about public education financed
yes.
by those people who speak Catalan.
Yes.
We are not. Then I want purely English education. You have a private school. I want purely Spanish education. You have a private school.
But again, the key principles, the important concepts. I think private school doesn't enter into the equation because there are certain people that cannot choose. So you need to focus on those people. So, in my opinion, there should be. If you have the whole curriculum in Catalan, it seems a little bit weird. When you tell this,
that doesn't exist. Who has the whole curriculum in Catalan? It's impossible because you cannot finish these are one of those things that are said in Madrid. How can you finish? I don't know anyone in Catalonia who don't have to speak Spanish to progress in the school.
No, of course you have the Spanish language one, of course. Let's say, but mathematics are taught in Catalan.
No, there is a quota.
What do you mean there is a quota?
There is a regulation on how many assignatures need to be taught in one language. At least in my time. Look, I don't know if that changed.
But the thing is this is from and if this is untrue, I'm gonna find out because there is explicit pieces of
and I don't know in universities how that applies. It could change.
No.
But in my case, when I went to the school, it was 40% Catalan, 40% Spanish, 20% other languages. That majority was English, but you could also do French or German.
Sure.
And that was my educational system. I never found any problem on it until in Telemadrid say we had a problem. But
no,
you know what I mean?
No, but if I'm not mistaken, and again, we need to find out, and we will after this podcast because this is something that we need to. This is in my as per my knowledge now, the whole curriculum apart from Spanish is done in Catalan, which is a little. If my information, my Central Madrid.
I don't know. I can tell you it wasn't my case.
Yes,
but I don't know currently.
But we belong to a different era, my friend. You were born. You are old already.
Yeah.
But in any case, look at the end of the day, the amazing thing is that when you talk to reasonable people, and I think we are extremely lucky and privileged because we have 10,000 kilometers of buffer that allows us to don't jump, don't swim into the propaganda. At the end of the day, we have this kind of the same principle. It's like be respectful. Okay, be reasonable, find midway, and not be in the with the gun loaded, trying to kill the other.
Since I'm here, I had people when I go back to Spain saying, "Oh man, in Leon, I remember a friend of Leon saying, man, you are a Catalan, but you're a cool guy. Like if that." Shouldn't be possible, you know? And you think, are you kidding me? Like there is this kind of also propaganda. And then the people in Catalonia, I think in my recent trip told me, yeah, we follow you on Instagram, you do very well, but why you promote too much Spain in your restaurants? Why not a bit more? You are a Catalan. I was like, what the fuck? I mean, what do you want me to say, you know? And also they were surprised, no? Because they see, I put, come pica pica to have ham, and I put the Spanish flag. And for them it's like, that's the other side.
Yes.
It's this need of having two sides all the time for certain people there, which I think it's created by what you just pointed of social media, polarizing everything, and people getting so tense by no reason. No?
I will share with you something. Sorry, mom. My mom is super reasonable. She is the kindest person that exists. And at a certain point, one time she told me, Fernando, you know, with everything that I'm reading in the newspapers, I really don't want to go to Barcelona anymore. And I'm telling you, she is the least dogmatic person. But this is the message that they're having. Like if there is a certain hate and that negation of her culture means that, you know, that
was a time frame. That was a time frame after the 1st of October, maybe let's say 1 year before, 2 years after.
Yeah.
But what happened there, that again, I think consider myself a neutral people who gave up. Still, I look at what happened there, and it shocks me that I didn't hear many voices in Spain saying that was completely wrong. The referendum was a paripe, that we say in Spanish.
Yes,
That
bananero.
That referendum wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't official. That wasn't. They declared the independence. You saw it, but but nothing happened because they knew they couldn't. No, okay, that's fine. You can go get those people, put them in jail. Do you need? Okay, now I could make a video sequence of images that I would be embarrassed. Mm-hmm. Even if I'm going against Catalonia, I will be embarrassed. First, buses of National Police and Guardia Civil leaving Andalusia with people farewelling them as if they're going to play the World Cup, singing A por ellos in the streets with flags. Embarrassing. To me, it's cringe, we say, no? Like embarrassing. Like
Yeah.
But again,
I agree.
Embarrassing. Videos of police hitting in the head, people bleeding, like
that one.
Hold on.
I might push back a little bit.
But then, again, what are we defending here? The law or Spain? Because if we are going to defend a flag above everything, don't count on me. I cannot give a less shit about the Spanish flag, the Catalan flag, the Lleida flag. We are persons. I don't care. And some people are more patriotic. I'm zero patriotic. Also for Catalonia, I'm zero patriotic. I'm romantic on memories, no?
Yes.
I'm zero patriotic. So, what are we defending here? Because if we are defending the law, and that police exceed himself, and there are videos proving it, why none of those videos were accepted in the court? Why everyone was without police number in here that, they cannot be identified? Why many of them were condecorated? This is what makes people want the independence. When the first attack of Israel happened in Gaza, it was the recent one, which has nothing to do. But when that happened...
That was the topic. I'm trying to avoid the podcast because I get cancelled. But I will allow you. Please go.
No. I just want to say one thing, that when Israel attacked first, there was someone on the States, I don't know in which podcast, saying, have anyone thought if you're rather going to kill more people for Hamas or you're going to create more people for Hamas with each bomb? And that resonated in me, like, there are things done in Spain. It has nothing to do one case with the other, one situation with the other. But there are things in Spain that have done to fight the independentism that actually have been the biggest factory of independentists in Spain. When you allow that thing to happen, you have naive people going to schools to vote for a referendum that is nothing. And they are going there. And you allowed police go there to use the force in a levels that we haven't seen in Spain in many years. And there is no consequence. Why? Because we're fighting for a bigger cause, which is the flag. Then everything gets in kind of in a question, no? So his flag above everything. Okay, then let's just say it.
No, look, I can I comment on something?
Yeah. No, you can comment on everything.
No.
Even I look very passionate. I don't.
Because you said many interesting things. I think on one side, what happened in October, it was 2017 already 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So far, or 17 or 18? 17, I think. What happened was very, very sad. I think it was mismanaged from the beginning. Look. If there is people saying "a por ellos," let's go get them in translation when they're going to Catalonia
to the police.
But it doesn't. It doesn't.
It's ridiculous.
Look, you know what I feel. I feel shame because in that moment it should be a sad, solemn moment that there is such a conflict within your country that you should never celebrate. Even I can understand that people fight a civil war, but you should never celebrate a civil war because it's always a sad moment. And same case in that. I think policemen were used, and those condecorations were just the cherry on the top of a series of bad choices. Mariano Rajoy, that I didn't have this image of him when he was in power, but I have to admit, with time has damaged his image a lot. He at the beginning he didn't want to do anything, so he let things happen
too far,
and he could have done things to stop them way early, because I really, let's say, if they didn't have informants telling them what the Catalans were preparing, it means they are very incompetent. So
they choose to stop it that way.
Look, in my opinion, this is my belief. This is my belief. In my opinion, it was just incompetence. It was just someone that he thought things. He didn't want to see that things were going to get to that point. When they got to that point, they improvised. And when they improvised, they threw to the dogs. They threw under the bus all of these policemen that they left with people clapping them, as you say. I didn't see those videos, but I believe you.
Yeah.
And then when they go to Catalonia, I saw other videos because I get other type of information. There were people, not allowing them to sleep at night. They had to sleep in this transatlantic with the Piolín logo.
Yeah.
It was very embarrassing.
Yeah.
So the images of policemen hitting people are always very embarrassing. I have seen, probably because a video you can cut and they can send you this part and they can send me this part and we have a different story. Yeah. Imagine that you are a policeman, that you are being insulted. I'm not justifying anything, by the way. I'm just trying to understand the facts. And then they are abused, things are thrown at them and so on, because I've seen the images of the Guardia Civil that have to leave the car on the street in front of the Tribunal de Justicia de Barcelona, and they destroy the car and they have to stay inside.
Yes.
So,
but one thing, that happens when Barcelona wins the Champions League. That happens when Atletico de Madrid wins the Copa del Rey. Now, saying that Puigdemont is a terrorist, say by a judge, because there was one death terrorist means causing death with political objectives, with political goals. Saying they are terrorists so they can get away with something that they want, accusing them of that.
They can bring him home. Yes.
Because it was one guy who died in the airport, which actually that guy got immediate response. He just died because he just died. So again, it's like we're doing or this video of the police that we see everywhere. How many bars the Ultrasur destroy after every Real Madrid match? Like, I think we are... And how many times that happened? We had demonstrations in Catalonia with 1 million people. 1 million people is the amount of people that when ETA killed from the two... Miguel Ángel Blanco, 1 million people went in the streets in Basque Country and was something that still, make my skin like... That was very intense and was 1 million people. And we were like, why is 1 million people? 1 million people went in Catalonia every 11th of September for 5 years in a row, peacefully. And then they... To me, what is shocking is they telling they are a violent movement. No, they are not. They are not. One day, 10 people destroy a Guardia Civil car, which it's completely wrong. But you cannot label a movement because of that simple thing. I think that's very... because that thing of the car happens in Spain for many reasons, and it's not... You cannot say everyone in Madrid is that because when Madrid wins,
But you're falling into a trap because I can push back. Allow me to push back. In the same way you have seen police mismanage or abuse in political demonstrations, in football demonstrations.
Exactly.
So let's say at the end of the day, the point is we have two sides that they focus on the other side. If I put myself in the shoes of a 20-year-old that was born in 97. He has been fed a certain type of information. He's full of testosterone, and his freedom can only be achievable through a certain path, which is voting and achieving I don't know what type of republic. And you see this guy that I don't know. He's trying to steal the ballots from a lady, a 60-year-old lady that was trying to volunteer there. And that lady falls to the ground. Even if she trips, I'm gonna fucking get a hammer and throw it at his face. Yeah. I understand that. I can put that. So we should go back and try to take one moment of silence and realize that nothing is as life or death as it seems, and probably with 99% of the people on the other side, if you had the chance to have a beer and without asking for the first 20 minutes where are you from, people would get along. And that's a fucking sad story. But
we have to move on. We have to move on because we're gonna stay. We can finish later. We can go have a beer after.
Yes. Hey, I'm doing a dry
non-alcoholic.
Non-alcoholic. Oh Madonna. Do we have still some time? How are you doing with time?
I have all the time that you
need. Fantastic. No, because I really wanted to ask you about all the things.
It's 5:30. Come on, we only talk about
only talk about Catalonia. You don't, let's say Rajoy, you don't deserve our time so much. Fuck it. Plus, there is this thing about Rajoy being gay. Just to close down, and
this is a random jump.
Yes, you didn't know.
But he's married, no? He has kids, no?
But look, I have 3 things that lead me into that.
Okay.
Fun thing about Rajoy, number 1, he used to drink a lot. He used to smoke 5 cigars per day. 5
cigars.
Cigars. If you actually look at him, he looks like someone that drinks a lot. Like this weird belly. And apparently he's gay. He's a repressed gay. Fraga told him, I think...
Which I'm totally fine with it.
Yes and no. Because I think if you are gay and you get into a certain position, your responsibility is to help other people, yes.
Okay. In that sense, I agree with you. Like, you don't need to hide it and make...
No. But apparently, Fraga in 95 or 96 told him that if he wanted to become president, he needed to get married. And because in 96, he was not married. He got married
Where
very
did you
late
hear this story?
No, I heard it from 2 people. One is Comisario Villarejo.
Villarejo, yeah, come on.
No, but the other side was from a friend of mine who was a member of Partido Popular all the way back to 2003.
But I think talking about this topic, it's just gonna be every time more normal than politicians of both sides. Some of them have different sexual orientations.
Of course.
Like in France, like the new Prime Minister of France, for example. I really like that guy.
The 34-year-old guy?
Yeah.
Do you think a 34-year-old can have the experience to lead a country? That's my...
But let's face it. None of those guys lead anything. They just take decisions based on information given by other people. Like, okay, this, choose one. And not choose one. Choose this one because we already study and this one is going to make us lose votes. So
yes.
At the end, it's just a phase, I think.
It's an actor. But we should pretend that he's not an actor. We should put someone there that looks like he's respectable, no? I mean, I'm a little bit of a nerd, so when I read about him, I went to LinkedIn and I read his profile. And he has only done politics. Like politics.
Many.
Since he's 23, 24.
But like many, this is one of Spain's problems.
Yes.
Abascal has only done politics.
Correct.
There are several that they are only done politics. Albert Rivera, he has a job, only done politics. Inés Arrimadas, where are them now, by the way? Inés, where are you
Where are you now?
This is, this... Esther Arrimadas and Albert Rivera disappearing of the politics is one of the only things in the past 10 years that bring me a bit of hope on politics in Spain, that with hate and without content, you cannot go very far. They never had any content. They never had any content else than confrontation.
Look, I want to push back. Actually, I voted for them one time.
Yeah. Many people, they were popular.
No, I voted for them because, in my opinion, they were the only. So they didn't have the baggage of the PSOE, of the Socialist Party. They didn't have the the connotation of the Partido Popular, and they defended an idea of the nation that was cohesive. I think the establishment just didn't give them space, so they threw a lot of shit at them that, in my opinion, is unfair. Because at the end of the day... It's
not unfair. When you are, again, to me, my grandfather said that many times, in life, hay que saber estar.
Yes.
She didn't know how to start anywhere. Like this, the one in the Congress, gesticulating and waving hands and... Chill, you have something to say, you go there, you stand up, you get your microphone, you say it. It was a mix of politics and Sálvame Deluxe. To me, it was like, it was embarrassing also to see them with all this confrontation. Maybe they get some hate that it wasn't deserved, but I still look for somewhere why the respect should be deserved. They were very rude and unpolite, I think.
Look, frankly speaking, I think I think it's a matter of perspective. Honestly,
No, I'm just laughing because we went back to politics.
Let's change. Sorry.
You can cut a bit of the politics talk. Is it too long, or you're gonna put the whole thing?
Look, if someone,
because I don't think anyone is interested.
If someone listens to the whole story, and they get to the hour and a half, out of which 40 minutes are Spanish politics.
Oh wow!
I'm gonna buy them dinner at Barbar or Pica Pica. I pay for my pocket.
No one will listen to this whole thing.
See, you just have to leave a comment saying Edgar has an amazing long blonde hair. Just write this in the comment and I pay you dinner.
And then we know you.
And then if someone actually listened to the podcast. This is a marketing test, A and B. Let's leave Spain because you left Spain a long time ago. And I wanted to ask you why. Why did you leave Spain? It was 2013.
Yeah, actually, then the answer.
Why, not only why you leave Spain, why leave Spain for Hong Kong? This is the key thing.
I studied marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Ciclo superior, de grado superior,
Yes.
not the university degree. I studied that, and then I started working in a software company in Lleida, in sales, but indirect sales. I was selling to people who will sell our softwares later. And they did a ERE when I was 21, first job, first year, and they fired me. Me and other 25 people. I was the cheapest to fire, I guess. I just joined the company 6 months before. So
yes.
They were bought by Sage, which is the biggest software company in Europe after Vodafone.
Okay.
Sage is Conta Plus, Factura Plus, all those software. Anyway,
yes.
They were bought, so Sage arrived and some people out, and I had some money. And I hated that and that kind of job. And my family always had chefs. My uncle is a chef in Japan.
Okay.
My mother is not a chef, but she cooks very well, but more than the average.
Yes.
I would say above the average. My grandmother had a restaurant in Spain. My auntie is a doctor, but she specializes on dietist, and then she does a lot of culinary courses. So I didn't know what to do. I say I want to study cooking. I want to work in restaurants. 21, and then I messaged my uncle in Japan. Say I want to do that, and then everyone in my family was trying to persuade me to don't work in restaurants. But my uncle in Japan said, okay, if you want to work in restaurants, come to Japan for a few months, and then you help me in the restaurant, so you see what it is, because at this moment you don't really know. So I went to Japan. I really love it. They treat me very, very well. I think today I'm a chef. I always say because of him, because he showed me that part, and he's very successful in Japan. That he has 5 restaurants in Tokyo this moment, or 6, I lose count, and then Le Studi, and he's a prominent person in the culinary world in Japan.
Okay.
He has cooked in the House of the Emperors. He has cooked for the King of Spain 2 times in Japan.
Wow.
He's a prominent person, but he became very Japanese. He's been there for 35 years. He speaks Japanese. He's married to a Japanese. My cousins are Japanese.
Oh, wow.
So, and he never engaged with social media and all those things. He made an Instagram recently, 2 years ago, but he's not that kind of person. He does much more than what he shows.
Yes.
So anyway, he said, come, I work in his restaurants. I really like his lifestyle and what it was. So when I finished this month, he told me, if you want to work, you need to go to a cooking school. And then I went back to Barcelona. I asked my mother for help because I spent all my money in Japan, and the cooking school wasn't cheap. So between my mother and my grandmother, they say, okay, I pay you the school. And I was very lucky to be in a family who could support this. And my grandmother said, okay, I pay your expenses, because the cooking school was in Barcelona. I was from Lleida. So I went there, and from the cooking school, I started working in restaurants where the owner, one specific restaurant, one ex-student of that school, and the restaurant had a Michelin star. And that was very tough. Very tough, not because of that restaurant, because Michelin star life in Spain, restaurants, is very tough. It's long hours, a lot of pressure. So one morning, I was in my day off, and I put on Facebook. Facebook was starting. What are you thinking? No? ¿Qué estás pensando? And I put, I will go back to Asia. I could have put, I just had a Colacao.
Yes.
I want to go back to Asia. 10 days after, I receive a private message. And I say, look, I'm a cousin of your mother. I knew who he was, but he was introducing. No? I'm John. We haven't seen each other in many years. I'm living in Hong Kong. And he was teaching here languages in some universities. And then he say, I have a student who's a business guy from Hong Kong who wants to open a tapas bar. We don't know where to find a chef. And then I say, okay, this is my opportunity. And then they say, why don't you come for 6 months and you help us to open it, and then you teach a local team how to do it. So in that moment, I think it was November, I was working in that Michelin star restaurant that in January it will close for a month to do some new dishes and that. And then I say, okay, I cannot come now, I can come in January. So I came in January, I met them, and they say, let's open a little restaurant. And then I say, okay. So I went back to Spain, I quit my job. And then I came here in April for 6 months, and it's been 12 years and a half.
And which restaurant was that?
BCN.
BCN was one.
BCN was a counter with 12 seats in Peel Street in front of what now is Pizza Express. Now it's called Bella Ciao, I think.
No, Bella Lee.
Bella Lee.
Yes.
That was BCN, and the floor that you see there, which is grey-red, that's still BCN floor.
Awesome.
And that was the first restaurant, and then that was the best platform I ever had, because the story is very interesting. I arrived there, and then they say, okay, we're gonna do tapas. And I say, okay, I'm not a math genius, but I could do some simple numbers. Say, nobody knows us. We are in this little street in the middle of Hong Kong. If we sell 20 euros, tapas menus at 20 euros, we have to do 100 people. We have space for 10 people. What about we do 20 people at 100? No? And then they say, oh, but that's not tapas, that's more expensive. I say, yeah, but I come from Michelin star restaurants in Spain for the past few years. My cooking school had a Michelin star. I can replicate exactly some of those dishes because I was the one making them. So why don't we do a tasting menu? We had 2 later, but why don't we do a tasting menu, and then this is what you pay, and we ensure an average check. And because I wasn't confident of people coming for tapas, that I also didn't have a big amount of pinchos to do or resources, or I was very limited. So they say, okay, let's do that. So we opened BCN with that 2 menus. It was another guy and me in the kitchen, and then the owners, and 2 people serving. And the restaurant got very, very popular. It was very good, I have to say. The 2 tasting menus were very good. I mean, I was exactly replicating dishes from other restaurants.
Yes.
Some dishes from my grandmother, some dishes from my mother, which they had restaurants.
Yes.
Some dishes from my uncle, some dishes from the school. But what we delivered was the same quality that you will get in those previous restaurants. So the standards were there. Also, the fact that it was only 10 seats was very manageable, and we could ensure that the quality was there. And the restaurant got very, very popular, no? To the point that the Foodie magazine, which is a little magazine in Hong Kong, I won Chef of the Year in Hong Kong in 2012. I still have the award at home. And it's a little magazine, and you know, that's more luck and being there, but
still.
But it was a very good platform. And funny thing is, every company I work, and the ones I have been close to work, since then until today, they were my clients in BCN. Every single one. After BCN, how BCN finished, also this is a story that many people may not know, and it was a bit sad because I was very young and I was a bit irresponsible. And I think when I won Chef of the Year and the restaurant was very popular, in August we were fully booked to October because it was very small. And you know, Hong Kong people wants to have what they cannot have, no?
Yes.
So people will call and say, I want to book a table of 5. I say, okay, it needs to be in a month and a half. Okay, just give me in a month and a half. And then problem we had later is on that week, people will forget, and then many people will cancel, but we had a waiting list. So anyway, I got a bit, I think, full of myself.
Yes.
Wow, I'm really good. The restaurant was popular. And a big hotel group approached me, and they start coming, to the point that I did, we become friends. And one day they told me, look, we want to open this in our hotel. And I think I was unfair to the people who bring me in Hong Kong in that moment. I say I only saw my professional ambition.
Yes.
And I say, okay, let's do it. I started talking to them. I did tastings, and at the end, it didn't happen. People from America, owners of the group, came. That I can say it. It's nothing wrong. That was Ritz-Carlton, and they wanted to open BCN in Ozone. They wanted to open the highest tapas bar in the world in Ozone. I was 27. That was like a dream job, right? So in that moment, the general manager was Spanish. The vice president of operations of Ritz-Carlton Asia was Spanish. They were regulars in the restaurant, and they were full in with this project. I did tastings in Ritz-Carlton. I did tastings in anyway, kind of behind my company. That wasn't right. Sorry, I was young, and not an excuse. It wasn't right.
But sometimes you need to do some hustling to progress.
I could have done it. I could have done it much better. Now I look back, I could have done it better, more fair to everyone, because they invested everything on me. That restaurant was me, and I didn't see that in that moment. I didn't realize. So anyway, that didn't happen last minute, or it didn't happen at the speed that I wanted. Hotels, especially these big groups, take forever to make decisions, and then at the end, last moment, they say, you know what, we hire you, but we are not opening this restaurant yet. On the main time, we put you in Tosca, which was a 2-star Michelin star restaurant. We put you in Tosca as a sous chef. We already spoke with the chef, but then later I say, no, man, I mean, I'm enjoying here. I want that tapas bar, the highest tapas bar in the world, if not. But in the awards of the Chef of the Year, I was in the toilet of Key Club, because the party was in Key Club, and I was peeing, and then someone peed near me, and then he takes me a car and say, if you ever want to open a bigger Spanish restaurant, call me. Put the car in my wallet, lost the car. So when that thing with Ritz-Carlton happened, suddenly, that moment clicks in my head. I say, who was that guy? He was the owner in that moment of Maximal Concepts, one of the owner of Maximal Concepts, Mod 32, Limewood, Brick House.
Yes.
I found him on Facebook because it was easy. I went to the award party. He was tagged on Facebook. I say, hey, it's me. You remember you told me, yeah, I'm looking for a job. By then, BCN found out about my talks with Ritz-Carlton. They fired me. I think that also was not necessary, but I understand.
Little bit overreacting.
A little bit overreacting. But I understand. I understand the anger. I would have probably done the same. So, and the day after, I signed with these guys, and we were going to open a Spanish restaurant, but we lost the site after a few weeks. So they say, we want to open a Spanish restaurant with you in this location. But that couldn't happen because they couldn't agree with the landlords. So they say, look, we have a calendar now of projects coming. Why don't you help us to open these ones as manpower, as a chef, task force, and then we postpone your restaurant. And then I had this kind of position where I was opening restaurants with them. I didn't have direct responsibility in the operation because those restaurants had a head chef, had everything. And at the same time was very close to the owners. Because we were developing the new project. So that position I felt very comfortable. And at some point they say, why don't you just stay in this position? And then we just open together restaurants. The Spanish will not happen, or maybe later. Say, okay. So that's why I became corporate chef for Maximal Concepts. And then I did a couple of restaurants with them. Fish and Meat, Stockton, Blue Butcher, Mod 32, Mercedes Meat, first Mercedes-Benz restaurant in the world, Limewood. So a lot of projects, and they were all quite relevant in Hong Kong. I learned a lot. That was the biggest learning experience in my career. Everyone in that company was very talented.
Yes.
The marketing girl was very talented. The EDGAR lady was very talented. And it was a very talented group of people to learn from. So I did that. And then later I moved to other places. But I moved to the Philippines for a while.
Yes.
I also meet the guys in BCN. And then Sherman Tang, who is my boss now, who owns Epicurean, that I met him in BCN first time. So BCN was like a platform because it was a counter. It was me giving you the food and telling this recipe is from my grandmother, this recipe is from that restaurant, this, that. So there was a social interaction with every single guest.
I see.
Good networking.
No, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And then fast forward to today. Now. because I have the feeling that you are always working on something behind
Yeah.
closed doors.
Mm.
I am very lucky because without disclosing the exact location of this place, we are very close to Pika Pika. So whenever I feel sad, I can go and be less sad and eat good Spanish tapas. Then on top of that, this gentleman here, in my opinion, in a move that makes you probably the most efficient binder of Spanish and Catalan culture, you took something that was totally horrendous, such as the bocadillo de calamares, and you made it one of the greatest things that I have ever tried.
No, the bocadillo de calamares is not horrendous. Come on.
I hate it with a passion. I have never finished.
You mean
one
in Spain?
In Spain.
Oh, I like it. It's a different thing of what we do. It's a different thing.
But you took the elements, put a couple of more things, and then suddenly it's just. Normally I order twice when I go to Barbar, and you open Barbar, which obviously there is the common denominator of the bar in Pika Pika and Barbar.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the character is different. If you have to impersonate the restaurant in one person, they are two different people.
They are. It's done in purpose as well.
I have to say, if I have to choose one, I think I tell myself a lot of stories that I don't know if they're true or not. I believe that the branding in Barbar is the best, because Barbar evocates many different things. Barbar is, I think about Barbaro, I think about Barcelona, and I think about bar. And I'm sure you thought about all of these things before.
I can explain you.
And
I put the name.
Okay.
I mean, I thought about this name. I suggest to Sherman, who's the owner of Epicurean, and he liked it. And Barbar actually has a couple of meanings. Barbar in Catalan is a Catalan word,
Yes.
which means barbaro. Barbarian. Barbarian are for Romans, whoever who speak a foreign language.
Yes.
So we are here barbarians, no?
Yes.
Barbar is the sound of a language that you don't understand. Bar, no?
Yeah.
And that's an onomatopoeia, no? So we are foreigners importing here a outsider culture. But in Spanish, barbar, when you're talking about in a botanical context, means to grow roots.
Ah, I didn't know.
Yeah. So for a plant, barbar is echar raíces, which links to our second tapas bar. Because, okay, Pika Pika is one, but now we're settling down. We're opening another one. No? And at the same time, because it's quite difficult to understand or too long an explanation, basically it's a tapas bar combined with a wine bar. Bar, because we have both. Pika Pika is a tapas bar, but Barbar is also a wine bar.
Ah, super.
I should open a naming company, no?
Yeah, I think you should.
But I had one idea like this in 35 years, so I think...
I don't know, but
unless the client wants Barbar, I'm in problem.
No, and then I think whoever chose the typeface of the logo was super fortunate, because
that was Xavi. That was
Xavi.
All the image of Barbar, the logo design. Let me.
It's pretty fucking good.
Let me say this. Let's shout out to Xavi. That was a present of Xavi.
Nice.
He gave me the logo for free.
Yes.
Very kind of him, because at some point I wanted to leave Pika Pika. I wanted to leave the corporate world.
Mm-hmm.
I was a bit tired of having to ask everyone for approval on everything. No? I want to say, look, I want to make this purple, period. No? But anyway, in that moment, so I start preparing for my restaurant. I wanted to call it Barbar, and I started thinking how it would be. And then I wanted to do a pitch for investors.
Yes.
And for the pitch, I needed a logo.
Uh-huh.
And I asked Xavi, can you make me a logo? And I told him the name, and then he gave me a logo, and he gave it for free. So I think later, when Sherman told me, hey, let's open a restaurant, I say, okay, look, I have a logo, I have a name, see if you like it. And then he liked it. And then now it belongs to Epicurean, and I'm happy about it.
No, it's super, because the letters, if you look at the shape of the letters, you think about the Gaudí and Barcelona architecture.
Yes, and all those signs. Xavi made a very nice project, a very nice presentation on this. In Barcelona, you have all grocery shops, and all his influences to get to that point where it's coming from. So yeah, great job. Yeah, I love it. I love the logo.
No, he's very talented.
Yeah.
Apart from being a very very good company, and I miss him, and I know why he went back to Spain, to Barcelona, but I'm very sad that he's not here anymore. He promised me that he was gonna come to this podcast, and if we haven't done it online, it's because he said, let's wait and see if April, May, we can do it in person.
By the way, the company who made this logo, I don't know if we can do some publicity or.
Oh no, 100%. Do as much publicity as you want.
Yeah, it's Neon. It's
the new company. Yes,
it's Neon. Before it was Flatmate.
Yes.
Now it's Neon, and yeah, very recommended for artworks, logos, design.
Super number one. Yeah. Now there is one thing in which you two guys compete, because you two guys have one main occupation. But then you have a very important hobby.
I tell you one thing, he's got better than me. We're talking about photography.
Yes.
And I think he persists more than me. He dedicated many more hours. At the beginning, I would look at the photos and say, oh, look, Xavi's getting there. Oh, he got a new camera. And now I'm scrolling on Instagram. I say, wow, what's that photo? And then I look, it's Xavi's photo. And I'm like, wow, he's getting really... Very nice images. He's traveling a lot.
Look, he's traveling a lot. I think he got obsessed with it, which I think is the only way to do great things. I have been trying, since he was in Japan, I have been trying to convince him to do a book with the pictures. And I offered him to do the writing of the book, of course, for free. I love writing, and I think. I mean, maybe he wants to do the writing himself, and I would be super happy. But when he was explaining to me what he was actually pursuing, he said, one of my idols is Liam Wong. I don't know if you've seen this guy's pictures. Let me show it to you, because I think the guy that has the Tokyo at night.
Yes, very neon,
cyberpunk.
Yeah, very cyberpunk. Yeah.
So that's who I am. I went to Amazon, bought the two.
But his photos. At the beginning, were more like that. A lot of neons, a lot of turquoise and oranges.
Yes.
Very cyberpunk. But now, man, his travel photos, he has some photography from New York.
Yes.
Which is more like Gotham City.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes.
I really like it. Yeah.
Now he has a repertoire of moods in the pictures that he takes.
Yeah.
And I think his problem is going to be now, because he traveled for like a year. Which
I think more.
Or even, maybe more. And now the problem is going to be choosing and making sense of the pictures. And if you see this wall empty, it's for two reasons. Number one, I'm a little bit lazy, because you also see there that I haven't hung the picture on the wall.
That's a nice
But
picture,
number
right?
two, it's from Avilés. And number two is because this wall is reserved for Xavi's pictures.
Wow.
But you need to send them to me. I've been waiting for you for 6 fucking months. No, it's I think he's talented. No, going back to Liam Wong. So he told me this. I went to Amazon, bought the 2 books from Liam Wong, had them delivered, and when I was looking at the books, I realized Xavi's are much better. Xavi's pictures are much better.
Sorry, Liam Wong.
No. Liam Wong, all the respect. I think, original has always a lot of merit, because, trying to emulate is always has it's a second degree of effort. But man, Xavi is fantastic. So Liam Wong, don't get offended. Come to the podcast any fucking time. Actually, in the list of people I want to invite to the podcast, Liam Wong is one of them.
I think after what you say, he's never going. Is him or her? I don't know if he's him or
no. Liam is a guy. It's a guy. I think. Yeah. But I think if he I don't know. If you are a little bit benevolent, please forgive me. Like you forgave me for saying that Antimos was my favorite restaurant.
No, because later you told me that wasn't true. That you just say it because he was here.
Antimos is my. I have to say, so far, is my. It's not that I go to fine dining every day. Yeah, I go maybe a couple of times a year, maybe tops 3 times a year. But Antimos has been so far in the last, I don't know, since I can remember, has been my favorite fine dining.
Antimo is a guy, and at the end, facts. You can pay marketing to talk good about you. You can have bloggers talking about you. He arrived to Hong Kong, I think, 11 years ago or 10 years ago. He opened 3 restaurants.
Yeah.
3 of them got a star in the second, in 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
3 of them, 100%
Accuracy.
100% accuracy. You know what I mean? You can get one, which is very difficult.
Yeah.
You can get 2. Come on, man. You get 3 in a row. This is not a coincidence. And I think in his podcast, he says something that I totally agree. He's a very persistent person.
He looks like one.
Persistent. And I have this feeling with him. I have never worked with him. But I've seen things. Hong Kong is a place where, as an outsider, you get a lot of benefits.
Yep.
You can get the reputation, the name, while others are doing the daily job.
Yes.
This is very normal. And then you take advantage of being the face. I've been in Antimo when he was on L'Altro. I remember go see him for something. I don't remember what was the reason, in the afternoon. And he was, while the staff was having break, he was in the kitchen with a knife, cleaning pigeons for the pigeon dish. And he was there and he was like talking to me and he didn't stop working. This kind of behavior in kitchens, it's very fine dining Europe, very tough. You don't have time to waste. There is always something to do. Things need to be done. And this kind of behavior, when you see a chef who's talking to you and he keeps working,
yeah,
you can say this guy is a very hard worker. This guy is a very persistent. He's always in the restaurant. Compared to other people of similar restaurants, similar projection, 1 star, he's always at the restaurant. And you can see the passion he puts on every detail. And it's a combination of passion and talent, because you need to have the talent. But most important, the perseverance that he has. You can achieve 1 star with passion and talent. I think you can only achieve 3 stars in a row with restaurants with a lot of perseverance. And I think he's one of a kind. One of a kind. I don't know how to say the sentence in English.
No, one of a kind. Yeah,
one of a kind.
But I that's what I got from when I asked him about what method he has for creating dishes, and he is very clear in saying, if I try more than 4 times and it doesn't work, I completely erase it. It made me think that this guy has a certain method. And coming back to you, one of the things...
Let's talk about Antimo.
No. Coming back to you, one of the things that I perceive when I go to your restaurants, I've been to the 2 that you're managing right now, is that the workflow is like is military precision. At least from the outside, you see that it's exactly what you described. Obviously, the service is about to finish, and normally I am the one who goes at the end. The guys are prepping for the next, and everything is like it's not taking any merit out of it. For me, it's like a symphony. It's just people preparing. So hats off to you, because what I perceive is that there are processes that allow for people to have things in a certain way, for restaurants to make money, because that's what you need to keep open. So I wanted to say this. It was written somewhere. I'm not following the script, but it's written somewhere. It's something that I admire a lot from Pika Pika and Barbara.
When you say chef, there are so many types of profiles that fit in within that description, no? And then you can be very talented in one aspect, one type of chef, and you can be not very talented in another. You can be very creative chef, but you don't know how to run a kitchen. You can be very hardworking, but your team don't follow you and you don't have leadership, and then you're fucked. That stage in Maximal that I described, where I was helping to open restaurants, and are restaurants where you are not going to stay because you're jumping to the new concept and this is your job, made me very process focused. I think if you ask me what I'm good at in a kitchen, is at implementing systems to minimize risks of things going in different ways every day.
Yeah.
Everybody knows how to do a tomato bread. And if you don't know something, you find it in YouTube in 2023.
Yeah.
It's not like before that restaurant had that recipe. Yeah, it could happen still in some stews, but majority of creative dishes, you can just find them. The trick of our job is to make sure that's done in a specific way, at a specific cost, every day, regardless of who is doing it. And that's what I think my career became. No? So I'm glad you say that, because actually in Pika Pika and Barbar, the recipe is the recipe, but what there are more thoughts in is how we make that happen every day, how we make the paella be acceptable, the point of salt, for someone who doesn't have a memory reference of that dish, to cook it in that way every day for 200 people. Because in Pika Pika we do 5,000 to 5,500 covers every month. And I think maybe we don't do a 10, but we do a 7 to a 9 or a 7 to an 8 every day.
Yes.
That's our goal, no? And this is only, you can get that only through systems. And to put you the example of the paella, I have a little spoon, a little scoop, because I was struggling with the point of salt on the rice. I try to, your point of salt, my point of salt is different. When we do Western food, we call it Western food, I hate the term, but you know, if you are educated on that point of salt, it's easier for you to reach. But if you are educated to season with soy sauce or with fish sauce, salt, you don't have that perception, that clear perception on where the point should be, you know? So I was struggling at the beginning because paella sometimes were lacking salt and it was too salty and it was, I bought a spoon. And then I say, the small one has 1 spoon, the big one has 2 spoons. And in Spain, you will not think that you measure the salt, you try. But when the people who implement it, these people who don't have the reference, and they try, and what?
Yes.
Where are we going? If I don't know where I'm going, how I know if I arrived there? Mm-hmm. So anyway, systems implemented. So now we're opening 2 more restaurants this year.
Yes.
And my goal basically is, yes, it's going to be a creative process that I enjoy the most. But my value is going to be how I make sure since day one that things happen, the orders arrive on time, what can be stored, what cannot be stored, how we process that, how much people will have to pay for that dish, what's the best version of that dish I can do for the price that I want people to pay for the dish, and start implementing that works and happens every day. No? And I think that's what I'm good at, and that's one of the reasons of success of Pika Pika and Barbar. And I'm not there majority of the time, and we're opening 2 more, so you can imagine I'm going to be in each restaurant 1 day a week. So that's key. Processes are key, and you don't want creative people that every day do interpretation of what to do. No, Antimo is. I think Antimo is different. Antimo is there. Antimo is doing a very personal approach that it needs him. What I do is a more casual approach. We reduce the level where we aim. We do a different type of experience that allows less detail.
Yeah,
but still needs to be the same thing every day, right?
Yes. So. Yeah, no, in fact, Antimo, I think you are in the sweet spot for Spanish gastronomy in Asia, which is the middle-high restaurant. Antimo was saying he believes that for Italian as well as for Spanish, fine dining is a club that is very difficult to enter. It's very difficult to gain recognition as a fine dining restaurant if you are not French, if you are not Japanese. What do you think about this? And do you agree? Do you disagree?
I mean, I disagree.
Good. So we have some controversy.
No. I disagree because we have in Hong Kong Venezuelan fine dining at this moment. Mm-hmm. We have Japanese, Spanish fine dining done by an Argentinian chef.
But he mentioned that he could get away because of the Japanese ingredient.
But then Mono, what happened with Mono? Mono it's not French, and Ricardo is expressing his culture on his food, and it has the recognition. It's one of the best restaurants in Asia, recognized by the 50 Best, has the Michelin star, and it's a case. I understand what Antimo is mentioning, and I think he has a part of truth, but I wouldn't say the whole thing is impossible.
No, of course, it's difficult.
Let me rephrase it. How I will say it is, and sorry, I don't want to be controversial, but it's gonna be always easier if you're French. And we can...
Same for the wine.
I think it's going to be always easier if you're French, basically because they invented the game.
Yeah.
So they set the rules, they give the awards. I mean, but I don't see it as a bad thing. When the modern cuisine arrived to Spain, saved by Ferran Adrià, through Arzac, Pedro Subijana, Santi Santa Maria, if you want.
Yes.
Like all those people in the Basque Country, Martín Berasategui. Those people were learning from French, from the French fine dining.
Yep.
So this kind of dining arrived to Spain through that. If you look at El Bulli dishes when they had to start, when Ferran Adrià arrived to El Bulli, and you look at the books, they have a liebre a la royale. You know, like it's purely French cuisine. Now, what they say is you know the basics, you understand the tradition, and from there, you start tweaking. No? You start adding your personality, you start adding to the point that El Bulli became what that was a different thing, no? Very creative. But still, if you go to Martín Berasategui now, you start with butter. One of Martín Berasategui signatures is the little plate with the 5 butters, where you have the mushroom butter, the regular butter, the tomato butter. It's not olive oil.
Yes.
And we're talking about Spain, one of Spanish greatest heads. So even one of our most recognized greatest chefs is playing the French game a little bit.
Yes.
Which is totally fine. I'm not criticizing at all. I'm just stating a fact that the more close you get to France, the better recognition you get. And this is a fact. I mean, we can prove it. No? And in the Michelin Guide, it's always been said that the closer you get to France, the more recognition you have. But I don't see it as a bad thing. It's their guide.
Yes, no, totally,
I mean,
totally.
It's fine. I see Antimo that, but I don't see it in a way that you can only do fine dining. So if you are Spanish or an Italian, it's a bit more difficult. Yeah.
I think his point was more that the general public, when they go for Italian, they have certain stereotypes of dishes.
That's true.
That they expect. So trying to break those expectations is a little bit tough.
That's true. I agree, because if you go to have pasta, people will say, "Oh, this is just pasta."
Yes.
You have to have eaten a lot of pasta to appreciate the details on Antimo's pasta and why that one is worth what it's worth, which I think is completely worth it.
Yes.
But you need to have a background. Again, I'm not saying the public they are idiots and they don't understand. No. But if I tell you, I went to a 3-star, I'm not going to name, I went to a 3-star dim sum restaurant.
Yes.
And I didn't understand why that was 3-star. But that's nothing against the restaurant. I have no idea about dim sum. I started eating dim sum 8 years ago. I usually only go to, and it takes a lot of memories and expertise to say, look, from the million I eat, this one is the crust, the thinner one, and the filling is there is a moment from good things to excellent things where that difference is in very small details.
Yeah.
And you need to have knowledge on it and a lot of experience to appreciate those details. Same in design, probably.
Yes.
Your lamps are amazing, and I will go to IKEA and say, but why?
But they are the same.
But
I
they are
have
the same.
The same problems.
But,
yes.
you know, it's the same. So he's right on that aspect. For Italian food, for Spanish food, maybe it will take more time to people to understand why Estro is a better restaurant than others.
Yes. 100%.
That's why I say it.
Yes. No. There was one example that for me was the perfect personification of this problem. He came to. So we did the long tasting menu at the time. It was before he had the star. A few months after he opened, because through Anna Palmer, we got to know him. So he found a table for us. And one of the starters, I believe it was one of the petit four, was a shot of minestrone. Now, I've lived in Italy. I've lived in winter in Italy, and I have eaten minestrone every week that I was there. So for me, to have that explosion of flavor in my mouth in a shot was something special. Now, if you don't know what minestrone in Italy in winter is, for you it's a very weird flavor. It's like, what are the guys proposing?
To understand greatness in something, you need to have a reference and a memory in your background, no? in your brain.
Yes, totally.
No, not always, but it really helps in terms of cuisine. Have you seen Ratatouille?
Yes.
At the moment where the cooks, when the guy eats that, what happens? His childhood comes to his mind. He's not excited by the organoleptic value of that. He's not analyzing how crispy this is, how moist this is, what flavor. No. This brings me back to.
Yes.
That's the greatness of the chef. This brings me back to that flavor, that memories, that grandmother. No, many times I cook by memories, and I'm trying to do a sofrito or something simple in Spain. And when I try it and I'm not happy with it, it's not an objective reflection of what I'm trying. Am I achieving that?
Yeah.
Or I'm not?
100%.
I'm not. I don't like it. And maybe someone who has never tried that will say, this is great. So cooking, it has a lot of memories.
Yes, it's a game only for obsessive people.
Exactly. I remember when Paco Roncero came here. He opened. I don't know if you know. Paco Roncero opened a restaurant called View 62. Paco Roncero is a Spanish chef, very famous.
No. I know Paco Roncero. I didn't know he came to.
He opened a restaurant called View 62 in Wan Chai. Anyway, and he came with this. In that moment, molecular cuisine was taking over Spain, and he came. I remember he would do the solid olive oil, which was like a pomada.
Yes.
Is that better than olive oil? No. If you never eat olive oil and they give you the olive oil or the pomada, maybe you prefer the olive oil.
100%.
But if you are in Spain and you've been eating olive oil every day for 25 years and someone gives you a pomada, you say, thank you, you give me something different. So he came with his omelette, which was the omelette from El Bulli.
Yes.
Which is like
the one in a glass.
Yes.
La tortilla construida.
Yeah, it's like an egg yolk foam with some caramelized onion and then a potato foam as well.
Yeah.
If you eat that, you never tried an omelette in your life. You never been in Spain, and you eat that. It's a warm, foamy egg yolk with pieces of onion. It doesn't have a value itself as a dish. It doesn't have. Now, if you grow up in Spain, you try your grandmother omelette, you went to that bar with your friends to have that omelette with onion, and then you have your reference of how an omelette should be.
Yes.
For you, how an omelette should taste. And then someone suddenly gives you a air that tastes like that omelette, it's going to make you smile. Because you're going to feel, oh, motherfucker, like, oh, how cool, no?
Yes.
Now, if you give that to someone who don't have the reference, he'll say, okay, maybe he will have enjoyed more the omelette. No? So this is something also that some chefs now don't understand. We go to places to try to be very creative when there is not a base knowledge on that cuisine to generate a surprise with the difference because they don't know what's the normal. So you go there with your cool stuff that in fact is not better than the original, but on your country origin, it's popular because it's different and everyone is too used to the original, but like the liquid olive, no?
It's a very good point. It's a very good point because maybe there should be, if there was like a circular story in a menu.
Exactly.
Maybe it would be interesting to tell.
I don't know with who I had this conversation before. Paco Roncero restaurant closed. Market didn't understand it. I'm not blaming the market. It didn't work. But maybe give them the omelette. And your version, so they know what you're doing in there. But still, it's not because you're trying for first time. It needs to trigger that memory.
Yeah.
It needs to trigger that memory, which it's a learning process that you do through your life that you don't realize you are creating memories. You're just living, eating, enjoying, having good moments with your people. And then there's that flavor, that moment, that brings you there, and that's the magic.
Maybe another solution, and again, I'm talking out of my ass because I'm not in the industry, but maybe there should be a menu only for introduced people. Maybe you should be
there are restaurants to introduce people. Pica is a restaurant to introduce people to tapas.
No, what I mean is if you imagine you're trying to now we're playing Monday morning football. Is this expression? Monday morning football is you in the bar in the bar everything better than the coach and the players, of course. But imagine that you want to open a restaurant that is super groundbreaking, but of course you need to worry about the bottom line. You should have only the most edgy dishes for certain type of people that are introduced to the restaurant.
But how do you sort that? Like, how do you ask them? And then how best are you in Spanish cuisine?
Maybe like Ferrari. You don't buy the Ferrari La Ferrari. They don't allow you. You need to buy the first Ferrari. Then you need to go a second time, buy the second one, and so in that way, every time you multiply the number of visits. I'm just making something.
I think it's more. Yeah, I think it's more simple.
It's very elitist.
It's more simple than that. I could do more modern approach to food than what I do in Pica Pica. I think Pica Pica is my less creative restaurant I ever done, my less creative menu I ever done, yet the most successful. It's fully booked every day for 5 days in a row, lunch and dinner, 2 times a dinner, every day of the week. So I'm not
it's
showing
true.
off.
It's true.
And it's
It's
the most simple menu I've ever done. That sometimes I even go there and I say, okay, we should do something. No, but why? Because there is a segment of people who just wants to build those memories on simple stuff.
But I like that there is this way. It's comfort food for me.
It's comfort food, exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
it's good comfort
and
food.
It's not easy to do because everyone has a reference for comfort food. You don't have a reference for egg yolk foam.
Yes.
But you have a reference for Spanish omelette. And then you have a reference for ham croquette because everybody has a grandmother who does a ham croquette. And people don't realize. Let me tell you one thing that bothers me a little bit. When I see these chefs in the photo like that, in their Michelin star restaurants, thinking that we are looking at them like, oh my God, this guy is really good. I would like to tell them, nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
But and again, let me say, it's not even nothing wrong with them. The marketing around them or the companies trying to say 20 best restaurants in Hong Kong, 20, these lists. This is why the 50 Forgotten comes from.
Yes, we get into that in a minute.
It's a complaint to that part of our industry that I hate.
You know that yesterday, sorry to interrupt you, me and my wife went to a comedy show, and before that we went for dinner, so we didn't know where to go, and I had never been to Hongzhou, so we went to Hongzhou, here around the corner,
Hongzhou,
from
Pirata Group.
Truth be told, loved the time I was there. The guy that serves us was top notch, super well educated, food great. We took the short tasting menu, went home very full, so everyone there just go to Hongzhou. Shout out to them. But the first thing they told us is, we are Hongzhou, we are a modern Japanese restaurant, and we are the 8th best restaurant in the Japanese category in Hong Kong. I'm like,
I don't understand. I don't understand this eagerness. I don't know if that's the correct word for rankings.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And I find it so disrespectful because when you say this is the first,
yes,
these are the 50 best, you're implying the other ones are the 100 worst. Michelin star, I think, is a more fair recognition because you have a star that everyone can have a star. Everyone can. But at the moment, someone needs to be the 1 and the other needs to be the 2. And then now they have this list of chefs, which makes no sense, where this is the 51 and this is the 43. And then, of course, chefs likes to be recognized, so they share it. So market thinks that's relevant.
Yeah.
So when I'm saying this is because I find it easier, and this is going to be controversial. And you know what? No, I wouldn't say I find it easier because I haven't done it. But I find it equally difficult to do a small menu restaurant with marketing resources behind me, promoting me, getting the PR agency who's going to bring me the people who write about me, which in Hong Kong can be done easier than in other countries, and that's also a fact. To get a star, limiting the seats, limiting what we serve, compromising the client experience to make sure we control everything. And I'm not talking about Caprice or Amber or those great restaurants. I'm talking about smaller places that their only goal is a star, or they want to do it very refined. And then looking at Eureka, look what we do, look how cool it looks. And then those restaurants in 1 or 2 years are closed.
Yeah.
If they don't get the star. But that perception that this kind of food is what you have to do if you're a good chef, I dare them do a casual restaurant, do dishes that everyone has references and have it full every day.
Lunch menu. Lunch set.
Or without lunch menu. We don't even do lunch menu.
No, I'm saying that if you want to reduce it to even a smaller reality, doing the lunch set
do it,
is fantastic.
and do it for 7 years in a row. Because I'm not saying that's more difficult, but it's equally difficult.
No, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. I think in those cases they are victims of their own marketing strategy. To be frank,
Is honestly ego. There are chefs working still for their ego, and I respect that. Like there are artists working for their ego. Opening a 30-seat restaurant in Hong Kong, aiming to do fine dining, we know it's not going to be a good business model. It's not going to work. You can sustain the payroll, you can sustain the marketing expenses, you can sustain the food cost. It won't.
Mm-hmm.
They will suffer. They are all suffering. Majority of them.
Yes.
So they do it for that. I'm sorry. That's how I see it. Is an ego business model.
Is to have.
I'm not talking about Estro or
No,
what I'm saying. Not at all.
No.
But there are many that I see them and I say, look, I feel sorry. And then, anyway, I don't want to get there because it feels like.
I will tell you later on off camera because I don't want to shit on people's careers. But there is one guy that I met in Bangkok, who was for me the summary of everything that you just said, but he wasn't even doing the things right. So I believe that I think I lost my.
I can hear you well. Huh?
You can hear me well.
I can hear you very well.
No, so I think it was
and sorry, to link that to photography, if you want me to link it or not.
No. I was going to that precisely. So. You came out with a series of fantastic pictures that was published in South China Morning Post and other places. I saw it on your Facebook about the restaurants that don't fall into this category, called the 50 Forgotten. When do you start that project? What's the moment in which you say, I want to do this?
That was right after COVID. I was really getting into photography. I really liked photography. And then following photographers on Instagram, many of them, they will say one good way of learning photography and growing in photography is doing projects.
Yes.
Because otherwise you are a guy in the street doing random shots to look a grandpa in a bench,
Yes.
and then food. There is no direction, right? So I say, okay, I'm going to do a project. No idea which project I was going to do. And then I say that they also suggest good photography usually is that you can do good photography when you're shooting things that you know or you have an interest on.
Yes.
Like I can say, okay, my project is going to be saxophones, but never play a saxophone in my life. But if it's cooking, maybe I will notice that emotion on the detail or because it's something that generates on me an emotion after some experience. So you see, it's most likely you will do something relevant if you shoot things that you know. Okay,
Yes.
Okay, then it has to be restaurants. First, I thought, I'm going to do photography for restaurants for free to learn. I'm going to go to Richard Ekebu's number and say, hey, hi, can I take photos of your restaurant? Restaurants that I like. Or to Antimo,
Yes.
no? Okay. But then this was linking with this approval that I have to list as the 50 best. And again, this is not a criticism to restaurants who are in that list. This is a criticism to a system that forgets family-owned restaurants, forget cultural heritage of countries where people who are bringing the recipes from their grandmother, they totally exclude those places to say this new guy who opened 6 months ago is the best.
Yes.
Because it's said by a person who go invited by the PR company that this restaurant is paying 35,000 Hong Kong dollars a month. It's just such a bullshit, the whole thing, that I say, I started disliking my industry. Like, oh, where are we? You know what this reminds me? Let me do a parallelism. I for a while, when I was in Spain, I was DJing like every single kid. And I had friends who own a music club. And there was always that DJ from another city that will come. And after 5 minutes, they will start. So when can I play here? I play here. Exchange of favors, And I know someone who can put you in that. We could sense that type of personality. And I see that personality in restaurants today doing the same, right? Like, okay, this food critic will come and then I do a four hands in your restaurant. And through that, I can get you a four hands. I see the same nonsense kind of things when in that back then, like your music don't talk about you. It's just trying to do networking that brings you to places.
Yeah.
And now I see restaurants where I don't know much of what they serve, but I know where they did the forehands, who went to do the forehands, but I don't even know which food they do, which type of restaurant they do. I don't even know if they're busy. So anyway, maybe I'm a bit underground or a bit anti-systema with these things, but I don't like it. But I don't like it.
I think you're a purist, and at the end of the day, it's it has become more from the user perspective, from the consumer perspective. It has become more about the media coverage, about the happening. The consumer, if you ask me, feels a little bit abused. The critical consumer, because I just want to be left alone. I don't want complexity where it is not needed. I don't need information that is not relevant. For example, I have friends that are amazing barmen, that they create amazing cocktails. But with mixologists, as they call it,
same thing happens. Same thing
happens. And it's like, guys, relax.
You go to some of those bars because I tell you, same that I criticize this guide.
Yeah.
I love Koa.
Yes.
I love it. I love the drinks. I love Jay. I love them. And you go there and the drinks are so good. So it doesn't mean everyone who's there is bullshit. They are so talented. I'm just saying, the aim should not be to be there. Koa is there is a consequence, but there are projects built to be there, and as a main objective.
100%.
And I think that's a mistake.
100%.
And I think that's a mistake.
100%. As Antimo said also in this podcast, he confessed what makes me angry, and he did not name any names, is that people that have success while serving shitty food because they managed to create the experience around it, and people follow because it's very well orchestrated. But then at the end of the day, there is no solid foundation to the thing.
I can name you a few in Hong Kong,
but we are elegant. We are elegant. No, so at which point are you in the project? How many of them have you done?
I'm doing horrible in the project.
Well, you became a dad. A dad.
It's very funny because so China Morning Post was very keen to help me to promote the project. I didn't ask them. They approached and they showed interest, and it was very nice from them.
Yes.
And I think the week after I did my last shooting, and it never happened again. I became a dad. I didn't have time. It's been a mix of things. Let me explain you why. It's called the 50 Forgotten. So I should shoot 50.
Yes.
I have 10.
Okay, but it's already 20%, eh?
Thank you. I needed that optimistic push. Yeah.
20% is.
You know what happens? And I will ask for help if someone wants to cooperate with me. It's getting into a point where many of those restaurants that I think don't have the recognition and I love and I keep going are Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to explain them what I'm doing. I've tried. I went to some restaurants and I told them, can I talk to the boss? No, I want to do free photography because I'm doing a project. They already just closing the door, like what this weird guy wants,
Uh-huh.
I don't speak Chinese.
Yes.
I don't speak Cantonese, Mandarin. So, and usually some of the restaurants are local.
Yes.
So it's hard to deliver the message of what I'm doing, what I want to do, why I want them to be there. It's a very weird thing, actually. This guy is doing a book called The 50 Forgotten, what the fuck that means, and free photography. And I told them, actually, all the photos I take, you can use them for social media. It's all free.
Yes, but probably they don't have social media.
But they don't have, or they don't care. I've been in Thai restaurants where I can feel they don't trust me. I've been in Chinese restaurants, and then I also ran out of other restaurants because, I mean, I love Yarber. I actually would love to ask you after, hey, let's go have some yakitori, but no one needs to hear about Yarber.
Yes.
But Yarber is a restaurant that it will fit in the 50 Forgotten because they don't play that game.
Yes.
But they are very good. No, but now they are very famous. So what I mean is, I cannot go there. I will go to those others, but I find a communication barrier that it had me with 2 or 3 restaurants together. I had planned to shoot. They never call me back. They say, we will send you. I send an email. Send me an email. They never respond. And I say, you know what?
But
too busy.
Is it a language barrier?
To change people. It's a language barrier, yeah.
Let's find you someone who speaks Cantonese.
And also how to explain this, because I even try in some of restaurants to go with some of my staff. They I don't know. There is no engagement.
So this is we're gonna make a clip out of this that you can use to actually a call for someone to give you a hand. I have a couple of ideas of people who might help you.
Okay.
And if they don't, maybe they know someone.
Okay.
I want you to finish it because I want you to invite you back to the podcast.
When it's finished.
You know what? I didn't write it here, and I should have. I knew that it was gonna be the longest podcast that I've done until now.
Wow.
I know we could go for another hour.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I have a professional thing to attend to. I will explain to you now. Because I cannot have my phone off longer. My boss is in the city. He landed half an hour ago.
Okay.
I enjoyed a lot. It was super
Thank you
nice.
for having me.
It was a super easy conversation, even though we treated apparently super controversial topics.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, I don't know. You just need to talk to people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you. Edgar,
Thank you very
by
much.
the way, I know this, I always say it and I forget. This podcast is all about the guest. So I give you the last word. Tell people what you're doing. You said you're open to restaurants. Can you tell something about them? And if not, just leave them with a couple of words of wisdom.
No, not to the promotion. I think what I'm gonna keep doing is to settling down in Hong Kong while bringing something from my culture through food. We have Barbara and Pika Pika at this moment. Okay, let me restart.
No. It's okay. No, I fixed. Yeah.
So we have Barbara and Pika Pika at this moment who serve a segment of population and budget.
Yes.
And I think the two things that we are aiming to do in this year, which one of them is 100% confirmed, but the other it's on the way, it's to go lower budget in one of them and premium in the other way.
Super.
So lower budget, we believe there is a part of population where 500-600 Hong Kong dollars per person, it's a bit too much. So we want to do an everyday 200-300 Hong Kong dollars Spanish restaurant in a different type of neighborhood.
Super.
And then we also want to do something more premium.
I will go to both of them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you again.
Thank you.
For the rest of you, to those of you who now in present 2024 stayed up until the end, which is probably someone in your family, someone in my family, and a couple of people with really nothing to do, I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. To those of you who will listen to this podcast completely in the future because we will be famous, it's the same. I love you anyway. And remember, whenever you're organizing a party for the weekend, go to the wine.com.hk. My friend Neil Johnson, I wanted him to be my first sponsor, and he gave me a discount for everyone to use. So upon checkout, use the code LASTMEET. That's LASTMEET. Thank you very much. This is the last meeting of the week, so have a happy weekend and see you soon.
Thank you. See you
soon.
Ciao.
Thank
you. Madre mía, cómo me enrollo.
Me ha molado mucho, tío. O sea, para mí, lo que yo necesito en un podcast, en un guest, es gente que hable, tío. O sea,
pero yo es que me das esto y...
No, pero sabes, es que...
Ha pasado volando.